Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 270 of the KBMOD podcast. It is March 19th, 2017, and the crew is back together again. It's been, a hodgepodge group, depending on whatever week you've tuned in. People traveling, people away for various reasons, but tonight we reunite under the warm embrace of our love for hashtag PC gaming, hashtag gaming, hashtag, what else were the hashtags in the tweet tonight, Brandon?
Hashtag PC games.
Games.
Because that's specific to the games on the PC and not gaming in general. So you have to make sure that you hit both of those segments separately.
Right. Good call.
Hashtag keyboard, mouse, or die.
Right. Wait, no, I thought we got rid of the whole die part. Or no? Are we still doing that?
No, it's fine. It's purely for engagement. So you want to make sure that you're hitting all segments. There may be some people who still identify with the full phrase,
sure,
instead of just the acronym.
Who still identify with the full phrase. Very great wording there.
Yeah.
I like that.
You want to make sure that people that still have search columns set up for the hashtag for the entire phrase, you want to make sure that they see the tweet.
Right.
No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But no, it's good to have Brandon back. I think last week it was Brandon was the only one missing, but other weeks, like I said, it's been kind of hit or miss. But Brandon, how was? Would you like to tell us where you were first of all, and then we will.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you broke the secret last week,
don't you think?
Not really. No. Well, I just always assume Brandon's traveling for some gaming event most of the time.
You told everyone last week why I was traveling. I was at PAX.
Did I? Have I already forgot? Oh yeah, it was PAX. I really am getting old. That's right. It was PAX. How was PAX, Brandon? I guess is what I'm trying to get to here.
PAX was good. It was quite cold, as it typically is in early March in Boston. So but it was kind of fun because it actually snowed while we were there. So probably not fun for people who are used to seeing snow, but we were there for the kind of the honeymoon period of the snow before it gets gross. So it's just kind of falling, and it was nice, but it was very cold. And yeah, PAX East was great. It was very big. I don't know at this point. I don't know how it compares to West because West feels larger because it takes over all of downtown Seattle, but East. The show floor for East is just massive. It's one big, massive show floor, and it takes up so much space now in that convention center. So I don't know. It was packed pretty much all 3 days because I think they're no longer selling 3-day passes. So Friday and Sunday were both really busy, where normally I feel like they're a little bit lighter. Well, yeah, that was fun.
That's good.
We took a red eye there, and I went to the aquarium. It was fun.
I don't really care about any of that, though. I'm glad you had a good time. What I want to know is how many Denny's, or is this the age-old thing? First of all, how many Denny's runs were done total?
Well, so Boston does not really have Denny's close to their downtown area.
I remember last year we had this discussion.
So I did not go to Denny's because there was not one in the area. But we did go one night to IHOP, which was passable. It was acceptable. And also, there's a pretty good diner that's fairly small, but it was really good as well, called South Street Diner, which we went one night. So I think we made 2 late night trips, and both were quite good. That's good.
Right. We did. We had this exact discussion. You were saying that it was too. They're basically the closest one. It's not worth. It's a trek.
Oh yeah, it's way out there. So, and the IHOP actually wasn't super close either, but it was reasonably close to get to in an Uber, whereas the Denny's was quite a while away. So yeah, but the South Street Diner though, if you aren't there when it's super busy, like we were, that was actually really good, and that was a little bit closer. So I can recommend that one wholeheartedly.
Yeah, well, anyway, we won't get into. People that have listened to this cast for a long time know where we stand on IHOP and Denny's. But like you said, IHOP can be passable if there's no.
Yeah. It's IHOP. I like both of them, and I feel like sometimes people misunderstand that I have some sort of grudge against IHOP. That is not the case. It is purely if you have the option to choose. If both are right next to each other, you choose Denny's. Period. Unless you want pancakes, if you are craving pancakes, then go to the International House of Pancakes, right? That's obvious. Sure. If you were craving anything other than pancakes, you go to Denny's. It's a very simple formula, right? But it's not like if there's a Denny's 5 miles away and there's an IHOP next door, we're going to IHOP. Okay, like these are not hard and fast rules.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good.
Man, you have like such a simple life if that's really what you have to like.
I do have a pretty
Is it bad
simple
when
life.
you?
Yeah,
I'm
bad
sorry,
when you
Brad.
say
Talking
international
from
health.
living in where is it, Bumblefuck nowhere? I don't think you're allowed to discuss restaurants because I don't think you have any, Bradley. That's what you've told me. Is that true?
we don't have chains.
Oh, okay.
Fucking
Oh,
watch-
it's all okay.
Oh, you just have your like artisanal diners?
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah.
Local food.
Is it bad though when you said International House of Pancakes? I'm thinking, oh, that place sounds nice. I never heard of that place. What is that?
No, my God. It does sound a lot. I mean, it does sound a lot fancier. That is true.
Yeah, frankly,
It really
I'm
does.
kind of
Drop
surprised
by
that they don't try and market themselves with the full phrase, because it's sort of like when you call a title like the NBA title, when you call it the World Championship or something.
Yeah.
It's like it's not actually the World Championship, but because you've called it that, people start to associate it that way. So if you call yourself the International House of Pancakes, at some point people are going to assume that you've got the authority to say that, even though you don't.
Yeah.
Well, IHOP has some I don't know, making up to do with me at least with my last experience. I was actually Scott and I went to IHOP. It was like first
It was
they were
called
closed.
an International House of Pancakes Express, I believe.
Yeah,
It has
it
the
was,
Express title on
All
it.
right.
Yes.
it was rough. It was rough. Well, our first mistake was going because I guess they close at 11:30 at night or whatever. And they were closed. I mean, it was. I was pretty defeated because
Yeah,
we had
were
already
hungry. We were dead set on getting some food though, and so
we
our
were.
options were limited. And you know, when you're in a certain state of mind, that certain sacrifices must be made. So anybody could have looked in the window of this IHOP Express and seen the dumpster fire that it was. But what did we do, Brad? We went anyway because we were like, well, where else are we going to go?
That's
Nothing
true.
else is-
Yeah, so we went another time, and I thought I ordered what was it, like a breakfast burrito or something like that. No, I asked the guys when I got my plate, "Does this plate look dirty to you?"
Oh.
And they were like, "Oh no, it's just probably the way they made it." And then like after I ate my burrito, they were like, "Yeah, that plate was dirty as fuck, dude."
That plate never was clean. Yeah.
What?
I mean, I just didn't want to ruin your food, but and you didn't die or anything, so I knew you're going to be okay. But yeah, that was an awful looking plate. It was
I
really
think
Wow.
you definitely should have known when you see the word express
yeah
on a chain that is already pretty quick.
yeah.
Like for a sit down restaurant, I don't think of IHOP as a slow option. So IHOP Express, like which shortcuts are you taking?
A lot of them. At least that's what my taste buds told me, and also my asshole afterwards. Oh my God, we
Oh.
both remember after we got back.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
awful. Anyway,
It was horrible. Yeah.
spared the details, but one bathroom.
I don't think you spared the
Jesus.
details. I think we got
No.
a fair amount
Yeah, you
of
got it.
detail.
No, it's okay.
I could go into
You're in
more,
like
but
side by side stalls. You're like holding hands under the door.
it was painful.
Playing
But-
battle shits.
Well, that's good though. To bring this all back, I'm glad you had a good time at PAX. I'm glad that
Yeah,
even though
it
you
was-
didn't have a Denny's.
The good
enjoyed
thing was
yourself.
there was that massive snowstorm that hit the next day. Like we basically made it out just in time. They were already, I think, canceling a handful of flights late in the day because there was a bunch of snow that was supposed to hit like early the next morning. So we made it out like honestly just in time. We got in, snowed a little bit while we were there, got out, and then it just dumped a whole bunch of snow and shut everything down. So we got kind of lucky with the timing, and I think PAX actually tweeted already that next PAX East is going to be in April, which
Yeah.
I think everyone's like universally happy about. But it was a good time.
I can imagine. That's good. That's good. Anything else before we jump into what we've been playing? Activities happening to any of us other three very interesting people? KD, Brad, anything to share?
I went to Family Video.
Did you? Did you really?
Well, that's where
I
you work.
did again.
Wait, so what did you have to get? What were you seeking?
Well,
what rare piece?
I was desperately calling to see who had a copy of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Okay.
The closest place that had it, because Amazon didn't have it in stock. I've been waiting for it to come in where I work for like 2 weeks. It's come out now. It hasn't come in. I mean, it came in, but it was on the Switch. Like, someone comes in with just one Nintendo Switch game. It's the only Switch game we have at the store. But no, I was playing it on the Wii U, and so 15 miles away.
Damn.
And so I tried that there, and actually, I was pleasantly surprised. It was a giant store. It was friendly customer service.
Oh.
And if you're a new member at Family Video, you get half off for your first 2 weeks. So for a 5-day rental for Zelda Breath of the Wild, it cost me $4.20.
Wow.
Or somewhere around there. It was incredible.
Not bad.
So Family Video, a very much alive industry.
That's what I was just gonna say. It still baffles me. We've been over this before, and I think it depends on like where you're located, but that the whole rental thing is still so. I mean, it's clearly profitable enough for Family Video to continue to operate. Because obviously there's like red boxes and all that other stuff, but to have a brick and mortar store still dedicated to that blows my mind.
So are you going to ask for a transfer to that location, Kitty's Zen? Or?
No, I don't know if I can make that commute.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Commute?
Commute?
Commune?
Right?
Commune.
The travel to work.
Becoming part of the commune at Family Video? Is that what I'm hearing?
The commune. No, I said commute. Or commute.
Commute.
Anyways.
Commute.
Stay in school.
Well, that's good. Wait, so how we'll talk? Well, okay, we'll save that. But so you got it for, you said 5 days for 4 something?
I think I said $4.20 of subconsciously thinking 4.20, but no, it was like $4 and some change. But yeah, 5 nights. So yeah, it was a pretty pretty good deal. Oh my god!
Are you able to beat it in 5 days?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, yeah. So you're gonna be spending more than that. So probably like,
no, I can beat it in about 5 minutes.
Wow. Wow.
Just wanted to. No. No, it's a pretty huge game. It's pretty. Did no one?
I was just gonna say, yeah. I didn't know if that was. I didn't get the. No, I totally lost. You lost.
I said I could beat it in 5 minutes.
Oh, beat it! Oh, you're peanut.
Yeah.
I totally.
Damn it!
Well, this all makes sense now.
It went over my head. I see what you were.
See, I didn't get the joke because I didn't. That was a little long for what I expected of you, but yeah.
Oh, I see. And then you made it fun about his penis length, guys. I'm getting it tonight. I'm starting to catch on. I see where we're going.
Hallmark episode here.
Yeah, this is next level. Okay, well that's good. Anything, Brad? Anything exciting happen to you?
Nothing this last week. Just a couple interviews, playing games. That's about it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we had a bit of a. They called for 18 inches, and we got about 6 inches, at least in this area. Trust me, though, I was well prepared and lubed for 18, and it was a little disappointing. But what then ended up happening though is that it froze pretty much instantly, like the next night, and the next day, my girlfriend had to get the car out, and we were basically plowed in to the point that, you know when you hit like ice with a shovel and it feels like concrete, and you're like, this isn't going to work. Like we're fucked. I guess maybe some of you guys don't, but on the East Coast, it's a pretty scary feeling. So I had to get one of the guys who does maintenance. He helped take my car out basically out of like an ice block for about an hour. We worked on it to get it out, and he was cool. He went above and beyond, but it made me want. I was like, why did I move to the East Coast again? And I was like, oh, because most of the time I can just stay inside and I don't go out anyway. So I'm not doing the commute. And actually, the winters overall haven't been too bad on the East Coast the past couple of years, at least in the area that my parents live. And even in Pittsburgh, we had a really light winter last year. But so that was a fun exercise. And then what else?
Just sorry to get off track here, but so Sham moved up in the area recently. So what was his impression? Because he's not from Philly. So
No. Yeah, they get excited every time snow happens or was called for because they just like to experience the weather because they, obviously didn't really get to experience it much. I think for him, they didn't end up going any. They just basically waited it out for a while, a couple days, and then they didn't get as plowed in as we did. But no, everything that I see from Sham and Allison is they're digging it. They want any kind of weather that is
Cool.
different from what they're used to. Yeah, so. Which is cool. It's good. It's nice to have some, and I don't actually mind the snow in general. I just, like I said, it would be a lot different, I guess, if I was commuting somewhere every day.
if it
not
keeps you
having to do that
doing
is
something that you need to do.
exactly. Like most of the time, it's just like whatever. I'll just wait, or I don't need to get out right now. But yeah. So that, and then this today, I actually went on a little bit of a nostalgia trip with my girlfriend. We went about an hour. A little less than an hour and a half. I grew up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at some of you may know Millersville University in Lancaster, and I actually grew up in like that college town until I was 12. And so we went back and I don't know if you guys have this experience with going back to like places that you grew up as a kid, and in your mind like you have the whole town mapped out and whatever else. And this is like a real like kind of quaint little not country town, I guess, because cornfields and all that kind of stuff. Like you pretty much have town center, and then you pretty much have Amish buggies and stuff everywhere. Like it's kind of a quaint area. But in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna go back.
Quite quaint, I would say. If you have Amish buggies,
you do. And they're everywhere. And people, I blended right in, of course, with my beard. Like people didn't even look twice. But
and your stiff
and your
starched button-down shirt as well. I'm sure.
Of course, yeah. I went. They were actually trying at one point. They were trying to herd me into one of the buggies, and I was like, "Guys, I'm not with you guys. I'm doing my own thing." They were like, "No, you come home, Amos." And I'm like, "My name's not Amos." But anyway, started speaking Pennsylvania Dutch. It was weird. Maybe I am, but anyway, all that to say, it was definitely a weird experience going back because I haven't been back to that town for, I don't know, probably 15 years. So it was just interesting to see. Like I still knew how to navigate everywhere, but it had changed a ton. So like my old childhood home, basically the university has bought up all the land that like a lot of the town used to have. So even like the house that I used to live in has basically become student housing. And anyway, it was a weird, I guess I'm going to be turning 30 this year. And so I have all these things that like, my life's not over, but I'm doing these things, little checklists, like, oh, it'd be cool to go back and see that kind of stuff. And it was neat. And it was a little surreal though too. And it also made me realize how old I am. So I'm trying to think, like the other thing that was interesting was, I know now for you guys, I don't think any of you guys have Sheetz or Wawa, but we have like Sheetz, Wawa, Turkey Hill, and like Speedway, at least on the East Coast, as far as like gas station things. And Wawa and Sheetz are the ones that have like full food service. We've talked about this before. I know where you guys are from. They don't have those. But I was very interested to see Wawa's like an East Coast thing. And I was interested to see if Lancaster and the Millersville area had gotten Wawa's. And they do. But then once we got into Millersville Town Center, what did I find? I found a giant Sheetz, which is surprising because Sheetz are mostly out by the Pittsburgh area and further out. And it was I'm a Wawa guy. I don't dislike Sheetz. I'll still go to Sheetz and stuff. Having gone to Pittsburgh, Sheetz I have some fondness for, but I'm definitely a Wawa guy. And so I almost felt a little bit betrayed because my hometown, I would think they would grab a Wawa. I mean, there was 15 minutes away, there was a Wawa, but no, Sheetz, man, moving into Millersville territory. So I know some people in chat will be happy because they're very Sheetz loyal, and I was a little bit disheartened. So definitely a trip that had a lot of complex emotions. Saw my old elementary school. I went to, believe it or not, a Mennonite elementary school growing up. So that's still there. My old dentist, I was just checking off the list. Sorry, what'd you say, Brandon?
I said, I do believe it, in fact.
Yes. And I literally just was like driving around. My girlfriend she was very nice to go with me because I was just like, all right, let's take a picture of this. And I was like, what am I going to do with these pictures? Nothing really. I don't know why I'm even taking them. But anyway, so it was cool. The town's changed a lot, but it's nice because it was only like an hour and a half drive, so you could do like a day trip and come back. And have you guys ever done anything like that? Like, or I mean, are you guys still? Are your parents in your family house still? Like, do you guys have any experiences like going back to places that you felt? The one thing I was going to say is that in my mind, especially as a kid, obviously this is just a thing growing up, but you're like, everything seems so much bigger. And then you go back now and I'm like, wow, I used to think, I mean, this was before I drove. I'd be like, I'd ride my bike. That would take so long to get out to that store. And I'm like, oh, this is a quarter mile, and the entire like town square is like it's like maybe 2 square miles for everything. So anyway, that was a little bit of a trip. I was like, this is a little bodunk town, not as big as I remember.
You should have taken a road trip to Boston.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
that much
That's
further.
true. I've only been to Boston once, and it was for PAX like 5 or 6 years ago, and I was like, I will never drive in this town again. I will never drive in Boston again.
That
So
I
could
don't
go.
blame you for, actually.
Yeah, that I could go. I would probably
you should just
fly.
drive to the outskirts of Boston and then
That's
leave
true.
your car there and get an Uber.
I
and
think
take
I
an
will.
Uber into the city.
I think I will, because that was a very traumatic experience. And I mean, I drive pretty aggressive. I'm an East Coast driver. Philly drivers are aggressive. Obviously, New York, all those areas. But Boston, they do not have it. You do not. You slow down, dude. If you show any hesitation on those goddamn brick roads, they're just behind. What are you doing?
So we had one of the drivers there, because obviously the whole time we're there, it's very cold. And so normally we'd walk, you can there's some stuff in walking distance. But because it was so cold and windy, we didn't really want to walk anywhere. So we took a lot of Ubers and Lyfts to get around. And one of the drivers we had there, so we're leaving, I'll try and paint the picture. Like we're leaving the hotel, which is near the convention center, and they have it to where you can only make a right turn out of that, out of the parking lot area. So they force you to take a right turn to keep traffic going, right? It's outside the past convention center. There's a lot of people. So they basically have cops directing traffic. And so they have cones and stuff up, and like clearly you're only supposed to turn right. Our Uber driver goes around the cones. He's like, I wonder, like, maybe I could go, do you think I can't go left here? And he just like goes around the cones, turns left,
Jesus.
and turns, like, basically gets stuck in the middle of the intersection because, again, the cops are directing traffic. So, like, no one's paying attention to the lights. It's the cops that are doing everything. So there's a whole bunch of people crossing the street, and he's just stuck out in the intersection. And you see that, like, the cop that's doing the directing, he looks at this guy, and he is upset. He's, like, very upset. And he looks at him, and he continues directing traffic. And then, like, sort of 15 seconds later, when everyone's crossed, he walks over, and he's like, did you just turn out of the hotel there? Like, you see that you can only turn right. And our driver's playing so dumb, right? Like, he knows exactly what he did.
Yeah, what he did.
I was just like, how did you think you were going to get away with this? There's like 3 cops in this intersection directing traffic.
Good Lord.
And so he just plays dumb, and like
to
the
get out
cop,
of it.
because obviously the cop either like probably doesn't even have, ticket writing ability on him. He's just directing traffic.
Right.
He was just like, just get out of here. But this, I was like, what are you doing? You drive
that's
for a
ballsy.
living. Like, how, if you get tickets, how do you continue driving for a living if you're constantly getting tickets? And I
Yeah.
think afterward he mentioned he'd gotten a couple of tickets before, and I was like, man, you're really living on the edge if you drive for Uber and like you're getting tickets. Like if your license gets taken away at some point, there goes your whole driving
Yeah.
career.
Exactly.
Man. But yeah, just Boston in general, like even before the drivers themselves, the roads make no sense. So there's a whole bunch of one-way streets, and then you turn into like a T intersection where you then like the road just ends. Oh man, I could not drive in Boston.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, it was really rough, and it was I didn't really know what I was getting into, so I think it kind of scarred me. But no, I actually liked a lot of the other aspects of Boston. I really did like it. Just
It's a neat city. I would
it's
love
a
to
cool-
go.
it's a
I would
cool
actually
town,
love to go
yeah.
there sometime and do some of the like sightseeing, because there's so much historical stuff there,
yeah,
and I've never
Yeah.
really done a whole lot of that stuff. But I don't think I would have done that this time because it was so cold. But maybe next time.
yeah. Very cool. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we've been playing this week. And Katie Zen, obviously, you shared your story about going to Family Video and grabbing the new
Yes.
Zelda game. Talk to me about it. Is it
Did.
everything you dreamed? Is it everything all these people want to shut the fuck up about? It's got a 97 on Metacritic. Is it that good?
Yeah, it's insane on Metacritic. Well, I mean, I'm not really that far in it. I only really got a chance to play it for maybe an hour or two. I haven't really left the like initial like area. It's kind of frustrating the way that it kind of. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like too frustrating, but they really kind of restrict you from really exploring at the very beginning. I mean, it really does open you up, but I'm still in what people could consider like the tutorial, I guess.
Okay. So you
But,
haven't played enough to really get a picture.
No, not just really a solid opinion, but I feel like what needs to be said that not a lot of people are saying this. The game runs like shit. Like I'm playing it on the Wii U. It runs like absolute dog shit. Like constant drops when nothing's happening to 20 FPS. The shadows look like garbage. Like there's like no anti-aliasing anywhere. I mean, it's not a bad looking game, but performance wise, it's just.
I hate to say it like this, but maybe you should buy a fucking Switch, you cheapo.
Oh, maybe I should if they didn't also drop the 20 FPS on the Switch.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Okay,
That's the
I'm
thing.
just trying
It
to play
drops
devil's
20
advocate here.
Yeah. No, it drops to 20 on the Switch also. And oddly enough, like both systems drop to 20 in different places is what I've seen in like testing. Like they both like when you turn the camera a certain way, I think it has to do with like what assets are on the screen. But from what I've seen, the only real way you can play Breath of the Wild right now for a smooth experience, if you play it on the Switch in portable mode, when it drops down to 720p, you've got a pretty much constant 30 FPS. Which
That's
I
what I
mean,
heard, that like that was the only way that people were able to get a smoother frame rate, is just playing it.
Yeah,
which I feel like is pretty damning for a brand new system.
exactly. Yeah, it feels pretty. I mean, I've seen the Wii U do like better stuff than this. I mean, I should say the load times are excellent from what I've played. Just when you look around in that game, you see just the sheer scope of the world, and I mean the draw distance for like objects and artifacts aren't really that great, but just seeing the entire massive world around you, it really, like, this is really one of the only games I've played in a long time that's given me that feeling of, oh, if I see this, I can go there. Like other games would be like, oh, but not those mountains. Oh, but not that. You know what I mean? And like you'll look through like the binoculars or something, and you'll look at like one of the mountains far off in the distance, and you'll see like a lizard or something crawling along the side of it, just thinking, what the fuck is that? Or you'll see like an airship flying miles and miles away. So I mean, in that aspect, it's really cool. And I mean, I really can't say too much about the gameplay or the story or anything yet. I mean, it's really just different from other Zelda games. There's no naming your character, there's no file select or anything like that. Link is called Link by name. There's voice acting in English for the first time, which is pretty odd. But I'm sure there are going to be a ton more things that surprise me in that game. So I'll definitely have more to report next week, I guess. But
okay,
I mean, you better. That time's ticking on your rental.
I was just going to say, when did you get the game? You've only how many days have you had the game for?
Well, this is the day I've got it, so that's why I've only played so little of it.
Oh, okay. So you just
I
thought you were letting the time tick away. I was like, oh, I wouldn't be good.
No. The beautiful thing about Family Video is that you can re-rent over the phone, so I can just have another $4 charged and just keep it going. So
that is some innovation right there. That's why they're staying relevant, dude. You think about you can actually chat on the phone, and
you can literally just call them, and they will extend your rental over the phone.
Yes.
Next level.
Wow.
Well, I mean, you'd have to pay over the phone, but it's just not. What other company makes those strides that Family Video does?
That's true.
Don't answer.
None, because they're the only company I really know of that are still doing rentals and brick and mortar. So you're right.
Absolutely. We'll go with that. We'll take a week.
Okay.
So, yeah. Other than that, I've been playing something probably no one cares about. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon on the 3DS, which is
game?
kind of that is a real game. Yes. And yeah, I've been playing it for a bit, and I'm enjoying it far more than Pokemon Sun or Moon. Honestly, that game is it's, if you're not familiar, it's basically like a dungeon crawling RPG where you play as the Pokemon, and you're in like a world with no humans, and all the characters are Pokemon, which is kind of cool if you're a fan, because you like the tropey characters are just the Pokemon that you would imagine would be those, and a lot of it plays into like the lore you'd see in like a Pokédex entry for like the Pokemon. But yeah, it's a fun game. Like, honestly, like just the exploration and the gameplay, and it's just, I honestly am enjoying it a lot more than Sun and Moon, which is pretty it's just more than the simple slow turn-based fighting. It's pretty it's difficult is what I'm really liking about it. Not like the other Mystery Dungeon game, but yeah, so that's good. Other than that, Rocket League, as always. But I think that's it. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like there's another big thing. Let me see. Dark Souls 3. I'm trying to get ready for the DLC.
Hmm.
And I think I talked about Near enough already. But yeah, that's all I played this week.
I feel like you're keeping up with a pretty varied gaming diet here. Even
so.
going out of your way
Yeah.
and renting games. That's pretty impressive.
Renting video games is probably the equivalent of like Blue Apron. No?
I mean,
Uh,
I don't know about that.
In some broad analogy, you can find a way to link them
I
together.
mean, it's sort of if you were if renting games was a subscription service where they just gave you a game every so often and we're like, here, play this, then yes, that would be closer to Blue Apron.
I guess
That'd be more like they give you the ingredients to make a game that you could play, and then
oh yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
so they're like, hey, here's a disc, here's a CD, here's a book on programming language, and here's some assets. Put them together and then have
be
fun.
RPG Maker every month.
Oh my god, there's an idea, dude.
Oh man, gaming Blue Apron. They need to branch out. Oh, that would be sick.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's all for me.
Okay. All right, Bradley. What about you? What have you been playing?
a lot of H1, a
Mhm.
lot of Rust, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Yes.
And then, which Brandon and I actually played a little today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, what else? I think that's kind of it. Overwatch, of course. But yeah, that's kind of it for me. I've been liking Battlegrounds quite a bit, actually. I don't
What do you
know.
like about it?
Yeah, I like H1.
Yeah, so it's basically I think it's where H1 should have been. Like honestly, I think the engine still needs some polishing, but I like the fact that you can mod your guns instead of having to rely on like a crafting system to kind of put you like in an advantage over other people. I like the how you deploy into the map. You get to choose rather than like randomly be like thrown into a map sprinkled all over the place kind of stuff.
Yep.
So hold on, I'm guessing a lot of people probably know what PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is, but if they don't, we should maybe back up a second and explain that it is
Right.
it is a new survival kind of King of the Hill game that's coming out actually this week in early access, but it's in closed beta right now.
Right. And so basically somebody that made this concept, like from what I understand, was working on H1Z1,
Yeah.
and then went off to make his own game, which is now PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And so the graphics engine is good. It's gunplay feels great. It just needs a little polishing, I think. I don't know. I feel like my connectivity is not much better than it would be in like H1, but I feel like my shots are actually registering.
Yeah.
Like I get that satisfaction. I get that confirmation. I feel like a lot better in this game than I do in H1, which is great on its own because I feel like I'm cheated out of a lot of plays in H1 just based off like the hit registration system. So yeah, I don't know. I like it. That's about it though.
Yeah. Just since we're on this topic now, and we're going to switch to Brandon too, because he's going to talk about it. I played a decent amount too. This in the round of the closed beta 3 that they're doing here, which I think ends tomorrow at like 3. They added squad play for up to 4 people, which was cool. And there's just a lot of things, like you said, you feel like this is where there are a lot of differences between the games though, because H1 is a way more arcadey, faster game. I think.
Yeah,
than,
that was the biggest thing I
is.
noticed playing it is H1Z1 has an arcadey feel that this game does not.
Right. And let me correct myself here. It was the guy that started the Arma mod that did the King of the Hill, and then somebody in chat said that he licensed it to H1Z1. And now he's creating his own game with that licensing.
That sounds right. Okay.
Which the PlayerUnknown title I think was from like I remember hearing that from the Arma scene. So So that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I don't know. Did you play the update, Scott, or were you pre-update? So did you play it much, or?
Yeah, I mean, I played a decent amount. I played, so I didn't play the very first time it was out, but I played the second phase of the beta and the third one. Performance actually seemed better in the third phase overall for me, and I think I agree with a lot of what you said. One of the huge things when it comes to squad stuff is that there's a fucking spectator client when you die, and
It's huge.
That is massive. Like people, like even though the game's not perfect and there's a lot of things that still need to be worked on, just having that alone, like so when you die early, you can at least still be helpful to your teammates. You don't have to feel like you have to tab out and just fuck off until it's over. In H1, obviously.
Well, it's such a mood clincher in H1 when like you're squatted up with 4 other people and then like somebody dies, and it's like, okay, so should everyone back out now, or should we play it out and then that one guy just like sits and twiddles his thumbs, or like what are we doing here when like adding a spectator mode, at least people can still stay in the moment, be a part of the team,
so
there's somewhat entertained.
There's some pretty diehard H1Z1 players in my chat, and some of whom we don't even want to play Battlegrounds because I don't know why, but their hope is that this will force H1Z1 to finally get their act together and release some of the stuff, like put a spectator client in the fucking game, and fix some of the other issues instead of just releasing crates. I mean, not that they don't work on the game, but you know the meme that it's like, well, if it's not microtransaction related, they're not really going to give a fuck. But it does a lot of really good things. I think there's a lot of really good things about this. It's a slower pace, though. People definitely play way more careful. People tend to. You have to wait. You have to. Yeah, people will wait. Like games do not just like. I feel like in H1 you'll load a game up and you'll be down to like 30 or 20 people before you even realize it. Sometimes people wipe so quick, depending on where you land. They take engagements. In this game, it's way more tactical, and it can be a little bit frustrating. Like we had a couple games. I played a couple squad games today with some people, and we would get in, we would get geared up, and then like we would go somewhere, and we got killed multiple times by people just sitting inside of a building, like which basically like camped us from like a mile out until we came out, and there was like people in a room with a shotgun when we came up, and again, that's how you can play, but that kind of camping gameplay style, it's a little bit slower. So a lot of people that I'm getting the vibe that a lot of people that like H1 and like the speed of it and the aggression that a lot of people play, and I'm talking about in squad based. I mean, I know in solos in H1 you can get camped like regardless. People still do. So but it is a different kind of game, and the pace is a little different. But I think there's, like you said, the gunplay is fantastic in that game, and that's a huge part of it.
It's just so unforgiving. Where like I was playing with Brandon earlier today, and it was just I was spectating Brandon, and it's just like in H1, if you're getting shot, you can kind of like retaliate. You have time to think and fight back. You get a sense of direction where they're coming from and stuff like that. Where like I feel like in PlayerUnknown's Battleground, there's none of that. I feel like Battleground, you're just like, if you're getting shot, you're either screwed or like you're close enough to cover that you have to give yourself time to figure out where they're coming from and analyze what you can do and things like that. It's just so much more strategy involved, and the pace is different. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling.
It is, and like you said about the attachments, like the gear. There's no crafting in this game. Even the way that like you find different levels of gear, different helmets. Like if you find a 4x scope or an 8x scope to put on a rifle, that's a huge advantage in this. I mean, just instantly, you're like, okay. So yeah, I think it's going to be a real contest. I don't think it's going to like wipe out the like some people are like, oh, this is the H1Z1 killer. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to force H1Z1. I would hope to really because this game is like to play this game in its current state and be able to have fun with it and look at a lot of things that it's doing that the other, king of the hill, king of the kill game, the only other one out there, which is H1, it's gonna be an absolute contender. Some people, it is for $30. I don't know. That is like I would probably be comfortable. I don't know if I can justify spending 30 on it, but we'll see. I'm interested to see where they go with it. But I agree. I'm glad you liked it too. Overall, I enjoyed what I played, even though it was frustrating. Like I definitely got frustrated at certain times, but then I would have a good couple rounds, and that formula, that's what makes that formula so potent. You're like trying to chase that dragon. get back.
Okay.
Like I can do it. I can get another 6 kills or 7 kills.
I think
Getting closer to those
I
reference.
mean it's definitely not going to kill H1Z1, but I do think that just based off what I've played so far, it does highlight some of the flaws in what H1Z1 offers, and I think that the game does feel different enough that H1Z1 will appeal to the people that like that more arcadey feel. But from what I've played so far, I like this feel better. Because, like you mentioned, there is maybe some more camping. There's like a little bit more. The pace is a little bit slower, but that's sort of what I didn't love about H1Z1 is because, like it felt like I would die because someone was jumping around and would shotgun me or something, and that didn't feel great for this type of game it is, like the survival game, where you're trying to be the last man standing. When it comes down to like who can peek around a tree, and like knows the exact way that H1Z1 works when it comes to like shooting around a tree or driving a Jeep and then getting out immediately. Like I just feel like Battlegrounds is less forgiving in some good ways. Like for instance, today we were in a car and I forgot that you can't get out when the car is moving or the car will run over you. And so I got out when it was moving too quickly and it ran over me and we lost the round because of that. And I was like, you know what, that was dumb, but also I kind of like that because you can't just get out of a car when it's going 20 miles an hour. Like that doesn't work in real life. And I was playing with someone after me and Brad were done, and so I had died. He was still alive, and he was like going up a hill trying to get into the zone before it closed in on him, and he like basically crouched behind a tree. Thought he was okay and got sniped by a KAR, one-shot headshot from someone who was clearly scoping him out the whole time, right? And like you're saying, Scott, it's just if you find good gear and then you find a good spot where you're basically in a building and the ring is kind of closing around where you are, you have a massive advantage because you can basically sit there quietly and line up like 1 or 2 good shots. And that's all it takes.
Exactly.
And so, like, there a couple of times that I died, I did not even see the person who killed me because it was just like you don't have time to react if that person has a beat on you. So, so I enjoyed playing it, and I think the small things really made a difference to me. Being able to choose where you parachute out is huge. I honestly don't know why H1Z1 doesn't do that because I enjoyed that way more. It's like, even if I'm dying at the very beginning of every round, I can make that different choice next time.
Yep.
And then I get a different experience. So like I get to learn the map more quickly. It just is just overall more fun when that piece of the randomness is in my hands. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's in a pretty impressive place for being a closed beta that's just now going into early access. I think like we've talked about, I think H1Z1 has a fire under them, given that H1Z1 still feels pretty buggy in some spots, and I don't think Battlegrounds has that far to catch up to be a competent product by comparison.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, for the state that it's in now, obviously it's going to be going to early access and whatever. The bones of it are already very playable and very fun, and not in the sense like, again, I didn't play H1Z1 at the very beginning and all that stuff. Like I'm kind of late to it, but I know kind of how rough that game was and continues to be in certain instances, right? It can be fun at times and stuff, but it still has so many problems. So for this to be starting from such a strong point, you would assume they're only going to continue to improve it. So definitely, and it's good, right? Competition is good. You would hope for both, for H1.
Yeah,
the spec client. Let's get better hit registration or better servers or whatever it needs to be to stay competitive and stuff like that. And again, it's not the same game, but they definitely are trying to exist in the same space. And so,
so let me ask you guys: are you gonna drop $30 on it?
I mean, probably. I think like $30, assuming the game plays, gets better over time. I don't know that I'd drop $30 on the product, the closed beta product I've played so far, but I think $30 is reasonable for, for a game that has pretty much infinite replayability like that. I look at it the same way I do as like a Rocket League or something, where not in terms of polish, but just like in terms of replayability. Like
Yeah.
if you like that type of game, then you're gonna get as many hours as you can stomach out of the game.
Sure.
Because
Yep.
it's a different experience every time you play it. So I think $30 is reasonable. I imagine they'll probably have like cosmetics and all of that. So $30 is basically the entry price. But yeah, I don't think $30 is crazy for the product that hopefully they will have
Well,
on
no,
launch.
that's yeah. So I'm not arguing that. I'm asking, are you guys gonna pick it up?
I think so. I don't know that I'll pick it up during early access, but like I think we'll have to see how the game pans out. I think it seems promising so far. But
Yeah, part of me, I'm kind of torn because it's kind of nice being in, having played the beta and stuff like that. Like, part of me is like, I don't want to miss out. Also, I'll probably just try to do the streamer thing and get a key for free. But the other thing is, like, I am kind of like, I really do like what I've played so far, even just in the limited time with the closed beta. So I kind of feel like if I do wait and I don't play it when it's in early access and going through all the updates that'll inevitably happen over the next year or two, if it ever actually fully releases, like that's the other joke with these games is like, will they ever come out? Well, we'll see. But you know what I mean? Like that I'm going to be missing out on like the changes and being able to play the game and stay up and wanting to improve at it. So I think for that, and you're right, $30 is not a crazy ask, especially for something where it's like, like you said, you can have basically infinite replay value because you can
also
have a different scenario
$30,
every
if
time.
that's the full retail price, that means that this is almost certainly a game that will go on sale for 15 or 20 during Steam sales.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
like I probably wouldn't want them to make it actually free to play, because then I feel like they probably have to deal with a lot of cheating that hopefully a $30 price point weeds out a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I think 15 or $20 on sale seems pretty reasonable for a game like this.
Yeah. So I think probably yeah, I probably will end up buying it. That would be my answer.
I think for me, I think it's gonna have to take a major change in like where people are playing, because I personally don't think people are gonna drop H1 just to pick up Battlegrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes up a big part of like the reason why I'm still playing H1 this weekend was because my friends were playing it. Like I realized it was a closed beta still, but at the same time, like in 3 weeks, 2 months, whatever it may be, which one am I going to be playing? Well, it's wherever my friends are going to be at. And then
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. And I feel like H1 still, I don't know. I feel like H1 still has a place with everyone, that they're still going to play it for a while.
I feel like it's not going to be one or the other though for a lot of people though, because I think you can jump between the game. Like I don't think even though they're different style of games, I don't think it just has to be like I only play H1Z1 and I don't play Battlegrounds. I think you're going to see a lot of crossover. I think a lot of people that play H1Z1 that have played the closed beta like it enough to buy it, but I don't think that means they're not going to play H1 anymore. I don't think you know what I mean. I think you're going to see a game that exists for people playing both. At least personally, I think that. I don't know. I don't think it has to be one or the other yet, but maybe not.
I think if my friends all had Battlegrounds right now, I think everybody would ditch it for H1 because of the status of H1 right now. Like that's just personal. But
I'll be curious to see if they look to differentiate from each other, because right now there are some aspects that feel very similar in the way that King of the Hill style game is played. One thing, I mean, I like that Battlegrounds doesn't have crafting. Frankly, when I was trying to play H1 and trying to figure out like how to craft and basically like sitting in a menu while I'm a sitting duck in the map is not a good experience. So I liked that basically all of the items within Battlegrounds, you have to go find them and pick them up, but there's no crafting to do. It's pretty straightforward. I think H1Z1 as a newer player who has not spent a ton of time with it, the crafting stuff kind of confused me. Like I think they both need to do a better job than that genre has typically done of getting new players involved in it and learning the game. I felt like it was easier to pick up Battlegrounds than it was to pick up H1Z1. But even outside of that, like the vehicles go completely different speeds. The game feels like it's a completely different speed. I will be curious to see if either one of them sort of doubles down on some of those differences and tries to find that niche. Or do we see H1Z1 try and slow down to basically say we're better than Battlegrounds
Yeah.
And the gameplay is very similar, but we're the better product, so come play us. Like I'll be curious to see how the games respond to each other.
That was the other thing I was going to say is right away off the bat, Battlegrounds is catering to a more it's weird. It's catering to a more casual and also more hardcore audience at the same time. They're doing things that are player friendly, like you see your actual movement on the map with the map overview, right? You see your little arrow, as opposed to H1, which again, once you read the map or whatever, and you know what you're doing, it's fine. But if you're a new player to H1, you've never played any games like this, and you just see your little red square, and you're like, what the fuck does that mean initially or whatever? And so there's a lot of little things that this game does that
quality of life kind of stuff
that are quality of life stuff that just make it easier. And again, I don't know, like I don't think if H1 changed up their map so that they showed you as an actual arrow on the map and showed the terrain, that people would complain. They'd probably be like, oh, that's so nice. Like, I don't think anybody enjoys reading the map in it. Maybe that's me. I don't know. Like, where are you? Like, but where it's a little bit more ambivalent and you're not as like, it's harder to be pinpoint accurate and you're just going by your compass. But but again, on the hardcore side, like you said, with the attachments, with like the gunplay, it's like it does feel satisfying. One thing I do want to point out that Natso was saying in chat that is true is that the close range combat in this game definitely leaves some stuff to be desired, but it is also less arcadey than H1. But I've had multiple times, like with a shotgun or whatever else, like it really, I think the gunplay in this game shines at medium to long range. The closer range engagements, which maybe are by nature the way that it's designed in the engine, are really generally really ugly right now. And I would like to see that cleaned up a little bit, because it does kind of feel
that way with H1Z1 too. Like close range feels like a crapshoot, and I feel like that none of these games have felt great in close combat. But I do feel like medium to long range, this game feels pretty good.
Definitely. Right. Whereas I say with the H1, I think it feels awful, medium to long. And I would say the closer game in H1, if you're not getting absolutely shot on by the server or some hit reg stuff with a shotgun, like, I've one shot a lot of people in H1 close range with a shotgun stuff. So it can be okay, but I guess it just depends on the day. But sorry, if you're just joining us, we're talking about Battlegrounds. We've basically just done a Battlegrounds roundtable podcast, and we're out of time, guys. So no, I'm just kidding. But also, so I'll move on real quick, but that was good. I'm glad we talked about it, because I know we all pretty much, except for Katie, played it. Katie's playing fucking child Nintendo games are over there. I don't know what he's doing. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, fucking baby shit over here.
Playing that Zelda.
I do want to give H1 a try. It looks really cool. But from what I'm hearing, I think I might lean towards the more arcadey feel. So I'll have to try them both sometime.
Yeah. I also have been playing, if you do not own this, like fucking Black Wake, the pirate game. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. I don't know if you've heard about it. It is in alpha right now. It's $20. I think it's $20 on Steam, early access. It is basically, it depends. You can go into different servers, but you are pirates or you're the British Navy, and it is old school. I mean, realistic. When I say realistic, like you're firing cannons, you have a captain of a ship. When you reload your musket, it takes 30 seconds. It's insane. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, early access game I've ever played, as far as proof of concept and fun to play right out of the gate. And it really terrifies me, because the last time I played a game that this was this fun this early, it got totally fucked up, and that game was The Culling, and they started listening to the community and they fucked the game up. This game, if you haven't played Black Wake, I cannot recommend enough. We've had so much fun on stream. I've been playing it pretty much every day the past week and a half or 2 weeks. You got to play it. You got to experience it. If you ever wanted to be like, it's as close to being like any kind of pirate multiplayer game, where in concept it sounds fun, but they've actually made something that sounds fun actually really fun. So get Black Wake, or check it out. If you're just listening to the cast, check it out and try it out. It shines in a group. Awesome. It shines in a group.
This reminds me of something. This reminds me of something like I remember playing like Counter-Strike Source, and there was this like Pirate Wars mod they had where it was like 2 boats, and you had to like try to board the other boat and like rebuild your ship, and like, so I wonder if this was like inspired by that. But like, man, I'm like, this is bringing back some memories because I used to play that mod all the time. Man, this looks awesome.
It's fucking incredible. I don't even like. You have to really kind of get into it and play with a group to experience it. But just like the mechanics are great, and it runs incredible. It's on Unity and it's made by 2 people,
Okay.
and I get 80 to 100 FPS in an alpha, and it runs fantastic. Like,
Wow.
it just makes you go, like, when you see something like this and it's so fun, you're like, 2 people made this fucking thing, and we've got, anyway. Speaking to the other games that we were talking about, you're like, how many people are working on this and it's still broken? But anyway, really, really good game and cool early access / alpha you should check out.
One of the
I think
screenshots of Black Wake on the Steam page is just you holding a cup of tea in front of you while someone
yes,
else
that
seems
is
to
how
be
you heal
staring at
yourself.
it.
That is how you heal yourself. That's one of
I'm
your
sold.
options. It's so good, dude. And you should hear the voice acting. It's fucking hilarious. You can spam commands. Yeah, we gotta play that as a group. Trust me, as soon as you get into it, you can't stop.
How's the player base on it being early access?
Really, like, you can always find servers full of, like, and 54-man servers, by the way. So that is 2.
Oh wow.
That's like, I think 3 ships aside with pretty large crews. Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty cool.
Okay.
So there's like a galleon ship, which is bigger, which you have a ton of people on, and then you have the smaller ships. So there's lots of strategy. But one of the funnest thing is one of the more fun things to do is we have when we play, we call ourselves the #1 aggressors in this game, best aggressive gameplay. Our Captain Frost, we always ram, so you can ram the other ships, and then you can board them, and then that's when you get into the hand-to-hand combat, the the muskets, the knock guns, and that stuff's super satisfying as well. So yeah, it's really fun. So it's kind of multi-layered. So you can just do the ship combat kind of stuff if you want, but then it really shines when you're kind of boarding and engaging the other ships. So
Cool.
all right, I'll move on and let somebody else. Brandon is receiving a. Let's see what Brandon is receiving.
I was
Is that a
just
cup of
tea and cookies.
Oh, that's so
I'm
nice.
having a little Black Wake
Excellent.
experience of my own.
I was just gonna say, you're ready. You just need to download the game.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm downloading as we speak. I'm just getting ready.
Okay.
Am I
so
next?
you are next. Yeah, you are next.
Yeah, so we already talked a bunch about Battlegrounds. That's most of what I've played this week because I was traveling and then catching up on work stuff. So I didn't get a chance to play much, but I did on the plane home from Boston. I ran out of things to watch, and I thought, I bought The Walking Dead season 2 on a while back because it was on sale. It's been out a while, and I hadn't played it yet, so I played through season 1 on the iPad, which I actually think the iPad is the best way to play the Walking Dead games because they're basically they might as well just be visual novels. You're just like hitting things every now and then. So I think they play really well on iPad.
Yeah.
So I started playing Walking Dead season 2, and I'm not really that far into it, but it seems okay. It's not quite pulling me in the way season 1 did, but I'll probably try and play that over the next few weeks because I just basically got started and had to sort of remember everything. But so far, it's just like, Clementine, she's like doing a whole bunch of stuff that you wouldn't expect a 10-year-old girl to be able to do. And then I also played some FTL on the plane, which is still an incredible game. Maybe one of the best games ever made, actually. So there's my report.
Okay. Good. Yeah. That game is cheap, isn't it? Too. Like everybody.
Yeah.
No, FTL.
FTL. I mean, I don't even know. It's like $5 or $10 or something.
Yeah, it goes on sale all the time. I see it. I always see it on summer sales, winter sales around $2.50.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, it is one of the best games. It's just one of the most replayable games I've ever played. Like, I own it on Steam. I own it on my iPad. It's amazing.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you'll enjoy season 2 of The Walking Dead because it really grew on me the more I played it. Really, like.
Yeah, it basically
really
I could tell that it was like setting up some. It was trying to set up some story things, but so far none of the stuff that it's done has really grabbed me. But I'm like not even through the first episode of season 2 or the first episode of season 2. So I know I probably just need to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember, it might take until episode 3 to 5, but things do get really, really good in that second season.
I'm gonna try and finish it in the next maybe week or two.
Real
Awesome.
quick, I almost forgot a trigger. I was going to talk about that. I also played the BF1 DLC, which is available for premium members, or 2 weeks early. So I was very excited. Haven't played BF1 for a while because it was getting a little stale with like there was no new maps or I just was like ready for some new content. And so we get everybody together and we're excited because we like playing BF1 and we load up the first map and we get on attack and we're playing and we're like, oh, it looks pretty cool and stuff. And it's like, wow, this seems really, really unbalanced. But I still try to be positive. Like we're getting slaughtered. We're like, all right, we slowly getting a point, and then we're realizing like, how the fuck? How is anybody ever supposed to do this? And so anyway, the first map goes by. We're like, all right, I'm not gonna be too triggered. Whatever. The map looked cool. We play the next map. Try to play attack. Like this is insane. They made this impossible. We have a full group and we can't do this against randoms. This is nuts. This can't be real. Anyway, fast forward to about 3 or 4 hours of very frustrating gameplay. And while there's a lot of good things that they did in this patch and fixed a lot of things technically with the game that needed to be done, the maps are just incredibly unbalanced. And I think basically they took the feedback that the community felt attacking was too easy on a lot of these other maps, and they just basically fucked the shit out of attacking on the next two. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's actually insane, and to the point that it's so frustrating that unless you're on unless you play defense on the 2 new maps that they released, there's no point, because you pretty much can't win unless you're playing against a group of baboons who have never touched a mouse before. But for the most part, it was super frustrating and kind of disheartening. We played one round of the new game mode. It was okay. But I'm really kind of disappointed that the balance is such an issue. And I know that they'll definitely get around to fixing it at some point. But I even had people.
There's balance issues when the beta was happening with the full game.
Well, sure.
I mean, like every single map, it was impossible to defend. So I mean, but now they've balanced it out. I mean, it took some time, but like we're at this point where we're basically paying to beta test games. That is essentially what your 2-week early access is, right? Like
pretty much, yeah. And that's the other thing is that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be shocked. I guess I was cautiously optimistic, but even that was
that's what you signed up for, Scott.
It was, and that was too much. And it is. I mean, it's like the group that I play with, like we've put a lot of hours into the game, so it's not just like we're not just like salty. I mean, we're salty. We're very salty, but we played enough of the game to kind of just scratch our heads and go like, how did they play? Like, I know that we are play testing it to a certain extent, but there also was they have the other fucking whatever they call their other environment where they roll out updates early that you can play on. And this shit was out. I don't know if this shit was out on it, but a lot of the other changes technically they made, like there was some testing going on, and I don't know how they didn't get the feedback that this is actually so imbalanced that unless you play on defense, it's almost impossible to have a good time. So like there's one section of some of the maps, like in operations, obviously you play through 2 maps. If you're attackers, you have to capture go through all the points and capture them. And one of the maps has like an okay first, one of the operations has an okay first map, but then once you get into the second one, it basically becomes impossible. And so I don't know. We're gonna have to see how they balance it. And even where they put spawns, you're just scratching your head where you're like, how are we ever supposed to capture this? Because as soon as we wipe them, they all spawn and jump over a little hill and they're back where we are. So anyway, just kind of disappointing. I definitely hope that they will dial it in. But I was definitely looking forward to playing more Battlefield. But after 4 hours of playing with a full group who normally who are very competent and we work together and able to win games, after getting attack every time and losing every time and only winning on defense, I was like, I have no desire to touch this game again for a while until they fix it. So anyway, yeah,
wow.
It sucks.
That's too bad.
It is. I want to read this comment from Yingity in the chat just real quick because this perfectly sums it up. He said, the issue is that we at least know how to coordinate somewhat, and the fact that we were doing that, trying different things and still coming nowhere close. And that's the thing, coming nowhere close to beating randoms was kind of nuts, given how that's gone in the past. And that's what it felt like, where it was like, we are actually coordinating. We're playing in groups that definitely don't have as many people as we do, and they're still just shitting on our lives, like easily. And that's how crazy the balance is. So,
Wow.
anyway, just had to get that out, and I hope they fix it. Which, again, like you said, they will at some point, but not quick enough for my however many $30 I think I ended up paying for the DLC. So
Premium, right?
yeah, exactly. But anyway, let's real quick go from that to talking about good things. So something that was negative was the Battlefield 1 DLC. Something that's positive is what's going on in KBMOD. And Brad, talk to me about what's happening.
Yeah, so small little update this week. We looked at No Man's Sky. They just had a huge update with like space exploration and stuff. And we took it at we looked at it from a perspective of somebody that actually like doesn't actually hate the game. You know, a lot of press, it's, you know, a lot of people are giving it a lot of flack right now just because they've felt pretty burned. So we've taken an objective look at the game and the new content that's been added, and you know, the results might shock you on what we thought of the game in their updates. So go to the site to check that out. And then we have a new segment, I guess we're calling KBMOD Staff Best Game Ever, where basically staff members of KBMOD sit down and write about their favorite games of all time. So this week, Hexadecimal dissected why Link's Awakening was one of his favorite games of all time. So KBMOD.com, check that out. You'll see our schedule for streaming, articles, you know, news, reviews. You have it. It's all there on the site, KBMOD.com. So
there you go. All right. Thank you for that. And with that out of the way, we're going to jump into some news. And does anybody here super triggered by this first article? Brad, you seem to be earlier. Why don't you take this one?
No, because I'm not on Windows 7 like you, Scott.
God damn it! I knew I wanted someone to go to bat for Windows 7, and I'm the only one on it. So I guess. All right.
So what's happening is basically Microsoft is not supporting new processors for Windows 7 and Windows 8. Which I think they dumped support for Windows Vista altogether, but that's a whole different story.
My stream PC. Just kidding. It's not Windows Vista. I wish it was.
But yeah, so if you are getting a Ryzen or Kaby Lake processor and you expect to be running Windows 7 or 8.1, well, tough luck, dude. It's Windows 10 or nothing else. In their article on the problem says your PC uses a processor that isn't supported of this version of Windows, and then they just suggest upgrading, like as like a resolution. So
that's cool.
Tough luck.
Yeah, let me upgrade so that I can get ads just strewn all throughout my OS experience. That sounds good. Hey, is there a way to turn off ads in my fucking Windows or File Explorer so that I don't? Oh wait, I bought this OS. Oh, cool. Sorry, I'm a little bitter. I was saying to the guys before the cast that every time I check any like tech subreddit or anything else, it's like 3 different articles about how like either to turn off fucking ads from Microsoft within your own OS, and I'm like, wow, I just can't believe why I haven't upgraded yet. It's like I know that that's one small thing, but that's beyond the also other technical things that people have issues with. That really
the great thing about Windows 10 is that when you upgrade, if you don't already understand how the Windows registry works or how Windows group policy works, you will once you upgrade to Windows 10. You will learn.
Exactly.
I'm not worried about ads in my File Explorer because I'm going to be able to find a way to turn them off. But most people don't want to have to deal with that. Okay. But to be fair, they did mention this a while back. I think we actually talked about this on a past podcast when they basically said that the new processors will only be supported by Windows 10. But I think at the time, I'm not sure we knew what that meant. Like, I'm not sure that we knew it would literally like not install Windows.
Yeah, you couldn't even get the.
I thought, because a lot of times when they say it won't support, like it won't be supported on old operating system is like, okay, well maybe it won't be like super optimized, or you don't necessarily know what that means. It doesn't necessarily mean that it won't work at all. But that appears to be the case, that it actually does not work on Windows 7 or 8. So yeah, I guess at some point, Scott, your hand is gonna be forced just based on hardware alone, which is kind
No,
of a
I'm gonna
shame.
have to. I'm gonna have to. Yeah.
I mean, I hate going this route, but Apple does this, and they restrict updates to hardware, and they've done this for a long time. And it's not just with their mobile solutions; it's with their hardware solutions too. I remember like they weren't letting people with like an Intel Core 2 Duo, like in their MacBook Pros, upgrade to like a certain Windows OS version, like, or they weren't getting specific updates or something like that. It's like I don't know, maybe it's an expense thing. I don't know. But it's really weird. But at the same time, there a lot of new products coming out, and I imagine it's not cheap for Microsoft to do this. But I would like to hear their perspective of why. I think they actually say here. Well, actually, they just give us a
They
bullshit.
just give a PR statement.
Yeah,
It's hard to know. I mean, unless you're an actual engineer working on this stuff, like it's hard to know how much work it actually is to make sure that the processors are compatible with old operating systems. I'm going to I want to believe it's not a ton of work, right? Because it's still x86. Like the platform is not changing in a fundamental way. So
actually, though, yeah, that's the weird thing is there's a lot of people with Ryzen CPUs having problems right now, and like Windows. Like I don't know whose end or who's at fault here, but there's problems with like the way the OS and the processors work together. I heard that basically Windows was basically seeing the hyper-threaded cores as actual physical cores, and that was messing with a lot of people's benchmarks when it just came out. To even like reading temperatures for the new processor, like there's a lot of problems. So I don't know. It's very interesting to see this when like we have a brand new launch and it's not even working correctly as it should. So
yeah, I just also think it's also regardless of how much work it is, it's a convenient excuse for them to not support
right.
the older operating systems. And like the simple fact is that, like, especially in enterprise, there are a lot of enterprises that are not going to upgrade from Windows 7 for a while yet. So like this kind of puts you in a hard place if, for instance, you want to upgrade, your desktop or laptop at work, but your work image only lets you have Windows 7. Like basically enterprises are going to get stuck in time because they're not going to be able to use newer hardware, which seems like a bad thing. But again, I don't know how much work it is to maintain compatibility for Windows 7 and Windows 8. It just doesn't seem like it would be that much work. But
yeah, you say that, Brandon, and
there's
companies still rocking Windows XP even though they shouldn't be. So I mean.
But that's what I mean. Windows XP. Yeah, at some point, companies are going to have to upgrade or get stuck on older hardware. But I'm just surprised that Windows 10 is not that. Like Windows 8 is not that old. For these processors to not work on Windows 8, that's still feels pretty bad to me. Windows 10 is not old. So it worries me that we're already like putting new processors on an operating system and forcing them to be on an operating system that's only like a couple years old. I don't know. It seems convenient for Microsoft. That's all. That's just the way that I see things. Even though I'm sure that there is some additional cost to doing that compatibility work, it seems like the compatibility work would be in the best interest of their consumers. But I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on it pretty soon. There's not going to be any support for anything hardware-wise unless it's Windows 10, but that's just my guess.
So I don't think
you have an Xbox One. I'm sorry, you need to upgrade to Windows 10 and wipe whatever version of the OS that they have on that fucking glorified PC. Yeah. Okay.
Oh God.
I
Trigger.
think so. So the one thing that I don't think has been tested, at least according to this article, is if you already have if you have Windows 7 and then you like drop a new processor in an existing install, like it's possible that that's the thing. Well, I guess we'll see when someone does more testing. It's just that if you try and update, it will tell you that it doesn't work.
Mm,
So I don't know.
could be.
But eventually, I mean, the simple fact is, like, eventually everyone's going to be forced onto Windows 10, regardless of what you
Right.
do. Like, at some point, either some piece of software you rely on, or some hardware upgrade, or something will force you to Windows 10 when you least expect it.
Right.
So.
Windows 10 is just like the inevitability of death. Like we all die.
Your
We are all
impending
forgotten.
doom draws closer.
We are
whether you know it
all
or
we
not.
are all, in the grand scheme of things, our life is but a brief spark that is then forgotten. So, you know what? I feel like I need to make like a nihilist like there's the Arby's account. I need to do one for Windows 10 and then
Nihilist
just tweet
Windows
stuff
7.
like that. Nihilist Windows, Windows 7. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to be forced on Windows 10 anyway. So,
well, Scott, if
why
you were
fight it
upset about
anymore?
Windows 10, I bet you were doubly upset about For Honor microtransactions.
Actually, do you know what? I'm not, because I was not. I played about 2 hours of this game, and I was like, "This is not a $60 game by any means," and I probably wouldn't even pay 30 for it. And guess what, man? This. I almost read this with a smile on my face. For Honor players did the math on its microtransactions, and they aren't happy about it. Wow. Well, considering they already paid $60 for the game, they don't seem like the brightest bunch. But, however, let's read what they came up with. Let's see what they came up with. Because part of me is like, well, it serves you right. Like, let's be real about this. So here we go. So they did the numbers, and obviously anything with Ubisoft or Uplay, you're going to go, well, of course, microtransactions is not really going to be worth it. So it hasn't had an easy ride since launch. We talked about a week or 2 weeks ago that For Honor shed more than half its player base after 2 weeks of being live. They lost half of their player base. Like, they just don't play the game anymore. Like, the numbers on Steam, they weren't coming back, which is pretty crazy. So they already have that situation where they're kind of hemorrhaging players who paid $60. But again, it's like, all right, whatever, they got the $60, but they obviously want this game to be around for a while and want people to buy the season passes. Well, let's take a look here. Coming off the heels of new emotes costing 7,000 steel, the in-game currency that can be bought in chunks of 5,000 for $4.99. This is kind of a recent update. Players have started doing the math on how long it would take to grind out every unlockable in the game, and they are not happy with the results. So basically, I'll save you all the math that was done by some. Of course, it was a Reddit user named Bystander007. But it was a Reddit user.
Doing God's
and
work.
This was his quote on this after he saw some of the stuff that they were offering. He said, Ubisoft is notorious for their deceptively expensive multiplayer games, as anyone who has played any of their recent Tom Clancy games could tell you. I personally just have suppressed the completionist within me and stopped bothering to grind for unlocks. Once you do the math, you'll agree. So he did the math, and here it is. I'll just read it because it's interesting. Each hero in For Honor takes 91,500 steel to unlock all the customization included in the base game. So there's 12 heroes currently, and that means to unlock everything in For Honor, you'll need 1,098,000 steel. That is approximately 7.32 of the $100 steel packs. So Ubisoft has valued their in-game unlocks within the base game at a $732 overcharge of the original 60 to 100, depending on the version you bought that's been spent on the game. So, I mean, again, obviously you go, all right, well, you don't have to unlock everything with the $100 steel packs, even, $700. You could just grind it, right? Well, so how long would it take someone to accrue the amount of steel by grinding? Well, according to the math, okay, again, this is conservative, but according to the math, if you played between 1 or 2 hours a day, every day, it would take about 2.5 years. 2.5 years. And so obviously he's even being generous, I would say, to 2.5. I mean, obviously people play longer sessions than that, but that's just breaking it down to every day. So that's because the steel you earn for free is really pittance. Matches can reward as little as 15 steel for 10 minutes of play. So daily missions, I mean, you can get stuff for boosts. They do this in Rainbow Six. You can get like little bonus things. Daily missions offer around 1,000 steel if you complete them, but that means most players will only earn about 1,200 a day. And so, yeah, it's like two and a half years of solid grinding to unlock everything, or $732 if you buy all the steel from the marketplace. So again, this isn't shocking. It's just it is pretty, when you actually run the numbers, it's pretty scary.
So I see this comment in the Reddit post and even in our chat, and people are asking, why do you need them, or comparing it to CSGO or whatever.
Sure.
That's besides the point. It's not even close to CSGO. But the problem is, like, you paid $60, you should be getting everything that's included in the game. Like, it's ridiculous that you have to like pay for it up front.
Counter-Strike Global Offensive has never been a $60 full release game.
Well, right.
Counter-Strike for $15-20. And
so that's okay. Like, at that point, like you just play the game, but like when you buy a $60 game, you should be getting a full-fledged, like, I should be getting all the content up front. But like, that's the problem with DLC is that you're not getting everything. And like, okay, so how long does it take to grind it out? Well, it's taking people 2.5 years plus. Like, that's
right
for $60. Like, you should be getting everything. Like, that's a thing. But
I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that entirely, but I don't think this is a good business decision for them. And the reason is that you guys mentioned last week that their player base has dropped a whole bunch. And I think that one of the risks of having a pretty aggressive, like, cosmetic, purchase model is that you could be giving those cosmetics away, like, on a more frequent basis, right? Mm-hmm. And that might keep the players who bought the game invested in it longer, right? So, like, they are choosing, on one hand, to try and make more money from people who will pay for cosmetics. And that's fine, right? Like, because in my opinion, as long as you're not selling things that give you an in-game advantage, then, like, that's okay. I'm not saying it's great, but it's okay. That's the baseline. But when you've already put all the work into, like, making all of those models and everything, like, you've hired people and they've already done the work to make all of this cosmetic stuff in the game, you could use that as a way to continually reward people who are playing it, right? And that might keep them interested in the game longer without paying more money, but it keeps your player base numbers there. I think the model that they've taken by making it so aggressive and expensive is that it will over time grind people down, because you're grinding towards one or two cosmetic pieces, and it actually hurts people who choose to have play a variety of characters, for instance. When you have to unlock everything separately across all your different player classes and everything, like, I think it's a delicate balance to try and make more money on top of that $60, while at the same time keep people interested in playing your game. All of those cosmetic items, if you made them for, let's just say, for free, right? And you just had to unlock, some in-game currency, but you couldn't buy it. But you accumulated it quickly enough where you could pimp out your character in any way you wanted, pretty much after, say, 20 hours. I don't know. That then makes people maybe more invested in the game, because now they've got everything they want and they hone their skill and all that. I think this maybe discourages people from even ever trying to reach that point.
For the average person.
I think it's like it's I'm not going to say it's like wrong, because I think it is maybe a little bit greedy to offer cosmetics.
That's the point of this article, is like, it's not that the people that in the community that are upset about this aren't saying that they don't want cosmetics, or that they're saying that the value proposition of grinding compared to what you could pay, you know what I mean? Like, that, like, you're saying that it is a step too far. It is too greedy.
And I think that
there needs to be a formula change.
Well, I think that saying that all of your unlockables in this $60 game, putting a value on all that content of like over $700, I think is pretty rich. Like, I would expect that from a free-to-play game for sure, because they're literally built on that value proposition in the first place.
Exactly.
But I think you do risk, basically, this is what you risk when you try to have your cake and eat it too. You risk that the community does all the math and then basically turns on you, because once they get discouraged, like, then they get their pitchforks out.
Exactly. And I think there is a massive distinction here. I really do. For a $60, whatever you want to say, AAA game, people make the comparison to Counter-Strike. Yes, they have cosmetics. Yes, they have cases. Yes, you roll just as well. But there is a difference. There is a difference. I have a different mental expectation with a game like that, or even like you said, a free-to-play game, than I do if I would spend $60 and felt, and I saw this and was like, wow, okay, this math is actually crazy, especially for a game that's $60. I'm not saying that you have to have all the content up front, but it is different than getting a game for 15 or a free-to-play game where you're going, okay, well, how are they going to make their money or the bulk of their money? And
I think
it's just different. It's different.
I think there's something to think about here with the console crowd too. I think as PC gamers, I think we've become very accustomed to being
shut up,
aware of like
toilets,
these in-game currencies. And Scott, let's stop talking about TwitchCon. Sorry, dude. But I think as PC gamers, we've become very aware of pricing and all this. But for some reason, I feel like console gaming has a lot to attribute to this, because so many people are buying games day one still, or pre-ordering for full price, and then buying DLC or cosmetics and stuff on top of that, like, no problem. And I don't know who these people are, like, but there's people out there, obviously, because Ubisoft wouldn't try to do this if it wasn't successful. Like, and I think we need to think about that perspective coming into this as well, because obviously there's an audience that's willing to dump some money into this game instead of grinding it out.
Sure.
But,
I don't know. The other thing I want to point out that Bayer made, which is a point that I'm sad that I didn't make myself, but again, I'm just referencing chat. I got to give him credit. He said that these are also Ubisoft items, though. You can't trade them. You can't sell them for actual cash. This is only for you.
It's true.
In the ecosystem that other people can see your flair and stuff like that. But the difference with CSGO is, like, yes, sure, your chances aren't great. Yes, whatever. But there is a possibility to, let's say you do get that $400 knife, you can sell that for profit on the marketplace. And you can get real money for it because there's an ecosystem that exists around it. So it is different in that sense.
Most free-to-play games don't have a market model like that. CSGO and Dota are fairly unique in that sense.
Right.
But I do think it is, like, there is a big difference when you talk about games that have a low price of entry. It's like you can't really get that upset if you do the math and everything in the game adds up to $1,000, because, like, that's not the point. The point is that the game is free or close to free. And so you pay, if you want to pay $60, you get a portion of the experience because the entry price is very low. I think you really run a risk of upsetting your player base when you try and have a $60 game, and then they feel like that $60 game is so incomplete. Like, even if it's only cosmetics, at a certain point, if they're $700 worth of cosmetics, you start to be able to, like, I don't know that you can argue that cosmetics aren't a significant part of the game. If there's going to be that many, if it's going to be that varied, I don't know. I think it's a risk. Like, it's not a risk for the base game. A lot of people already bought For Honor. It's probably already considered successful. But the risk is in, like, will there be a For Honor 2? And will people buy it again if they feel kind of shafted by this one? Like, it sort of goes into that idea of, you might be losing out on long-term goodwill, and this game might not have a long shelf life that it could have otherwise.
Yeah, well, it already is. I mean, it's again, you're like we talked about earlier when we talked about the game last week, was the fact that it shed so much of its player base already. This is not another. This isn't helping. I don't think anything. Especially because these are the people that, if you're going to have the Reddit community go in and do the math, these are the people that already are your diehard users that want the game to succeed.
Exactly.
They have every interest in wanting to continue to play this game. So, like you said earlier, Brandon, if you're alienating these people, what really are you going to have left here at the end?
Yeah,
and that is the risk.
I think that's hitting the nail on the head. So. Like, if you alienate your really hardcore user base, which this does, then you really risk not being able to count on them to keep your game going in the longer term.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's move on from that into some quick hit news. PS4 games for you guys that don't have a PS4. Soon, you guys will be able to play them, albeit technically streaming them to your PC via PS Now, which is a service we had talked about in the past. And I guess we're taking a look. There's a little bit more news coming out as far as like the price points and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to play like games like Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted 4, or all of those, and you don't have a PlayStation, you can pick up a PS Now subscription, and with a monthly fee, you can get access to over 400 PS2 titles and PS3 titles and a lot of exclusives. And I haven't given the services.
Red Dead Redemption is on there, so like that's
Red Dead Redemption. Yep,
that's already maybe a reason to get it.
Yep.
But I would.
Yep.
We were talking about this before the cast. I put this on here because I don't own a PlayStation, but I could see myself trying PS Now to play some of the exclusives, especially because none of those exclusives really rely on like no input lag and great ping and stuff. Like Uncharted is just like a story game. The Last of Us, games like that frankly like are probably fine to play over streaming because they're not highly competitive. Like they're just single player story games. I could definitely see myself getting a subscription just to play those, for a month or two and then canceling it. Like that would be a pretty good value.
Yeah. Yeah, when you said it like that did make sense. Like if you have just a couple of that games you want to get through, that's access to a pretty big library. And I'm super skeptical because I'm latency. What is it going to be like? Is the experience going to be good enough to justify something like that? But to be fair, I haven't tried it myself, so maybe I don't know, Brandon. I kind of want you. You seem the most interested, so I think you should get a 1-month subscription.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Right now, they haven't. They have just said. Their PS4 games are coming. They haven't said which ones or on what time frame. So I would, the cynic in me thinks that we probably won't see some of their best titles because they still want to sell PS4s and PS4 Pros. And guess what? Their exclusive PS4 games are the best way to do that.
Of course.
So I'm not holding my breath that we'll see these games on PS Now anytime soon. But if we do, I could very easily see myself subscribing to give them a try. Because I'm not, like, I don't think we're going to see for a long time, like, streaming be the same experience as playing locally on your PC or on your TV. But if I'm not going to buy a PS4 just to play those games. So my choice is either play them streaming with maybe a slightly worse experience or not play them. So... Yeah. For me, like that decision, it would either be to give this a try or just to not play them. And up until now, I just haven't played those games. So I'd love to give them a try, though. I mean, I haven't played Red Dead Redemption, but I've heard great things. So like, I should, if I can get a chance to play it, to knock out some of those exclusive PlayStation titles from years now that I've missed out. Like that's easily worth a few months of PS Now subscription.
Mm-hmm. I love the comments on the comments on the original blog are great. Somebody in the PC Gamer article picked out some of his favorite ones. In quotes, I don't like this, ... I want consoles to survive, frowny face. The only gamers benefiting from this decision are PC gamers, not PlayStation gamers. As a longtime PlayStation supporter, I'm very disappointed by Sony's decision. It's just...
Yeah.
Sony... Sony, please, I urge you not to make top PS4 exclusives like Bloodborne, Uncharted, all these unavailable on PC. And it's just funny, some of these comments, like how far this elitism will go just to like...
They really are invested in not PC gaming, huh?
I know.
Really, goddamn.
I saw one comment because I was going through them and they were like I really don't want you're killing console gaming or something like that. It's like, okay, chill, dude. Like,
relax, buddy.
Yeah, it's still 2017. Yeah.
There's one comment that says, "Boo! Just give us some ports, you selfish Japanese freaks. Your freaking company and your penises won't fall off if you that." So,
the comment
really got his point across
section
there.
Is really living up to their reputation here. There's a pretty good one I saw here. It just says, "I have a better idea. make exclusivity forbidden by law.
Wow.
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 Yeah.
Wow.
We got some real brainiacs in the comment section here. It's treading new ground. This is crazy.
Damn.
Incredible. And yes, I said treading new ground. I know that treading means water, but I think these guys are probably swimming above ground with the comments I'm seeing. All right, let's jump into a real quick one where I just go, again, I think this stuff is cool, but my God, the amount of time people spend. So Pokemon Red has been fully recreated in Minecraft with 357,000 command blocks. And I didn't put this in here, so somebody else can explain. I mean, it's definitely impressive. You can watch a video of it. But
It's basically like I feel
it
like
took 17 months.
these articles come up every so often, and I think it's always worth talking about just because this is some of the neat creativity that can only exist when games like allow the kind of modding and extensibility that
Sure.
Minecraft has. So the fact that this person built a working recreation of Pokemon Red that even has some of the bugs from the original game.
Yeah.
It took him 21 months, and like Scott mentioned, 357,000 blocks. So he didn't use any mods, actually, from my understanding
No.
reading this article, which
I
is
don't think he did.
impressive because some of the ones we've talked about in the past, they've used mods to basically do a lot of the actual work of turning some other map into a map in Minecraft. But I'm guessing it sounds like he did this by hand or by, I mean, I don't even know. But 350,000 blocks, 21 months in total. I mean, this is basically your life's work at that point. Very impressive stuff. There's a YouTube video that goes over it a little bit. But I mean, just Minecraft, for as much as a lot of people don't necessarily love the game, I feel like Minecraft has had some of the neatest just things come out of it. I mean, who would have expected this to ever come out of Minecraft? Like, I don't know why someone did this, but I think it's cool that they did it.
Yeah. There's some really good comments of like to try to get perspective if you don't play Minecraft or really understand exactly what's going on. This one guy's kind of poo-pooing it, saying like, what's the fucking point? It's like this guy, it's equal to deciding to build a house without tools. He spent 21 months on writing a program that should take him 3 months tops. So I can only guess he's a brilliant guy who wanted world attention. And this other guy goes, I don't know, as someone who's often had to program at a low level point, having to use assembly now, excuse me. He said, as someone who often has to program stuff at a low level to the point of having to use assembly now and then, I can admire the work. Shows off that even with the most rudimentary programming language, you can still accomplish nearly anything. And he says it's like showing a work of art carved out of marble using only toothpicks, which is that's a pretty cool image. Because I mean,
I feel like this is the digital version of of like if you spend a couple of years making some really nice piece of furniture in your garage or something. This is the digital equivalent of that. Like, yeah, you could have just bought a piece of furniture and it probably would be just as good. It would be it would be more sturdy. But the point is, that's not what you wanted to do. Like, you did something because you enjoyed it and because you wanted to make it. So I think those comments miss the point. It's like, if he enjoyed doing this and that's what he wanted to do, that's really cool that he did it. Because I don't think anyone else ever would have if he didn't, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, and it is. I guess it's like if you see a really impressive work of art or something, and you just go like, fuck, that must have taken that guy like his entire life. And why did he dedicate his life to this? I will never understand, but it's cool. And in this brief moment, I can appreciate it. But then I'm going to forget about it and probably never talk about it again. That's how I feel with a lot of these things. But again, I'm not hating. I can appreciate it for what it is. It's just,
it makes me wish I cared about one thing so much to ever spend that much time on it.
It's admirable. It's admirable.
Like Twitch streaming.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I'll be impressed.
This is gonna be exciting.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Going
why
through
don't you
these
take
related
us from
videos.
Pokemon into the Blizzard news that you love here, Brad?
Oh God, there's 3 stories. Yeah, take it away.
Yeah, this is our Blizzard showdown. But
It's literally, by the way, it says Blizzard Showdown in the actual.
Get excited.
We get very excited when we can come up with titles for our groups of articles. It's very exciting.
But it looks like our first quick hit for Blizzard news is some Korean outlet basically is noting that from an industry source saying that Blizzard is looking to re-release or update the original StarCraft around May to June this year, calling it StarCraft Remastered with new graphics as well as updated Battle.net service. But then, of course, the gameplay wouldn't be changed. It's pretty interesting.
It is.
That is, to be clear, that's a rumor. Like, they don't,
Right.
not confirmed by
Yeah.
Blizzard. It's just apparently they have a source. But I feel like this rumor's come up before, so I think people want to believe it. I kind of want to believe it because, I mean, I think I would definitely play a remastered StarCraft. So I hope it's real. But like, I'm also a little bit skeptical because it's been a long time, and I'm not sure what they would do after that. Like, after you make StarCraft Remastered, that can't be the last thing you do with StarCraft, right? It's just like, say, oh, the old game was really good, right? So we'll make a remastered version of it. They would have to do something, I think, with the StarCraft IP afterward. And so I don't know if they would do it before talking about the next thing for StarCraft. I feel like StarCraft Remastered would be a great way to do a lead-in for, like, also, you know, StarCraft 3 or StarCraft whatever. Like, the next thing they're going to do with StarCraft, I feel like would be a good tie-in here.
Yeah, it would make sense. It would make sense. I know StarCraft is so beloved. I think they should do it, and I think they should make the community extremely mad. And I think they should change. I think they should fucking change the whole thing. I think they should make the mechanics different. I don't think it should just be a cosmetic change.
I mean,
They should
I
add
wanna
an
see
that
FPS
game
element.
is called
They should
StarCraft
make
2.
Yeah, well, that's true. But yeah, no, but like make an FPS. Oh, dude, I would just love to watch the StarCraft community burn. Not that I have anything against it. I just think it would be super interesting.
Well, I think with StarCraft, you know, slowly being on decline for several years now,
Sure.
I could see them either trying to do this as like a way to pivot competition to the original StarCraft, or and just basically like put the StarCraft IP up forever and just say like, here, you guys like this one, this is how it is forever, or you make it like a sort of a marketing push to the new, bigger, better, best version of StarCraft ever, and you try and do it that way. But I'm not sure, like with Blizzard and the amount of projects they have going on, I'm just not sure if a new StarCraft is something that they're thinking about.
Gotcha. All right. Moving on. What's the next one?
Next up, if you want to, oh man, there's some great segue potential here. If you're running on a computer that can only run the old StarCraft, good news is you would be in good company playing Overwatch.
Yes.
That was not a great segue, but I tried.
I saw what you were doing.
We got the.
It could use a little bit of polish, but anyway, 22% of Overwatch players use integrated graphics.
Wow.
And that is a much higher. If you would have asked me just what percentage of players in Overwatch use integrated graphics, I would not have guessed anywhere close to 1 out of 5. But that is apparently true. That was from one of the software engineers at a GDC talk who talked about the basically they're supporting a wide range of specs, and that's pretty incredible because I think we as PC gamers typically ignore the fact that games even run on integrated graphics because I don't think any of us would ever play PC games on integrated graphics if we could avoid it. But I mean,
because we're not poor. But yes.
Well, I don't even know if it's a matter of poor. Do you think these are people like that are playing like on the road, like on like okay laptops or something like that? Because you can get even a shitty, cheap graphics card that'll just help, run Overwatch slightly better. Like it's not real.
No,
I think it's
these
even
probably
a
are a lot of people on laptops.
Yeah,
because most
laptops
laptops don't come with a graphics card. So that would be my guess, is that basically this 22% just means a lot of Overwatch players are on laptops.
Right, and maybe they have a PC already, and this is if they're on the road and playing it and stuff like that.
I mean, I think just anyone. Like if you're a young kid playing on your parents' computer, there's a good chance that even if your parents got like a nice laptop, it probably doesn't have a video card.
Yeah, it's true.
Or if you have like a laptop at college, I could see if you have a MacBook or like a kind of a lower end laptop, like a sub $500 or $600 laptop, none of those are going to have graphics cards. So I guess it doesn't surprise me, but I'm surprised at the percentage of players actually playing that like use it. Because I would just think if I tried to play a first person shooter on integrated graphics, I wouldn't play any more first person shooters after I tried it once. It's just like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't love
exactly.
playing a slideshow, so I'll just watch Netflix or something. Like I wouldn't game to spend my time if I didn't have a rig that could handle those games.
I'm, so, I'm sorry. This chat, chat. I can't even speak. This comment from chat really got me. Darren McDoggy Day said, "My grandma's life support machine runs 1080-60 with integrated graphics." Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why that struck me as so funny. Okay.
Well,
But
yeah. At least now we know what percentage of players play as Torbjorn.
Oh,
Alright.
well done.
That's not too far off. That might be part of it. That like you actually do have a couple of classes that can be played without like needing a ton of great aim or high FPS.
Yeah.
And Turborn's
There's
one
no
of them.
timing.
Yeah.
Almost no timing.
I mean, I'm guessing that probably none of them are sniping, but some of the other
Yeah,
some of the other
definitely not.
characters, like you could do okay, I guess, on integrated graphics.
Yeah, Reinhardt, I guess.
Yeah.
You just have to position.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that was pretty impressive, and if anything, goes to show just how wide the Overwatch player base really is. Because I would guess that percentage is a lot higher for Overwatch than it is for most games. Like speaking of something like For Honor, like I really doubt that For Honor sees 20+% using integrated graphics because they're selling mostly to like hardcore gamer types.
Yeah, I don't think that game can even be playable on integrated graphics.
No,
what I've
probably
seen. I
not.
mean,
That's like
Overwatch,
that's the thing is most games I just assume are not playable on integrated graphics. Like any proper 3D game made in the last few years, I mean integrated graphics have come a long way, but not that long.
Yeah.
So generally,
You're not playing Doom.
Yeah, like generally, if I'm gonna play something on a laptop with integrated graphics, I'm going to 2D games like FTL or Hotline Miami or games like that run flawlessly because they require very little horsepower. But I mean, I guess if the only gaming machine I had was a laptop with integrated graphics, maybe I'd get bored of those games and I'd hit up some Overwatch. Oh. And speaking of Overwatch, our last little quick hit here. Oh wait, our last Blizzard Showdown quick hit. Let me clarify. Is that Blizzard is testing changes for Lucio. So if you've paid attention to the Overwatch meta since the game has existed, Lucio has pretty much been a must pick in the competitive scene since the very early days.
I think since the beginning, basically, it's been a lot of the
Are you
competitive
looking
teams.
for the word OP?
Well, his range has been so far, and like the healing he's been capable of doing is so vast that like competitive teams pretty much have to pick a Lucio and then like 3 tanks or something just because of the way the comp is right now in the game. But basically what they're doing is they're reducing the range, but then I think if I recall correctly, they are also giving him a boost for like his effectiveness. This is just in the PTR, so it's just temporary. It might not even reach the final game. And then I think they're also adding in a visual aid, so you actually know the radius of like where your teammates are. Because I actually didn't really didn't put into context how far I was reaching out, but yeah, so they're reducing it from 30 meters to 10 meters, which I mean that's a big cut. That's a decent cut.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I think it's 20 meters, so still big, but not.
Okay.
Well, the article here says the area of effect radius has been decreased from 30 to 10 meters.
Oh, sorry, I was reading his ultimate. The Soundbearer ultimate got reduced from 30 meters to 20 meters. So two different nerfs on 2 of his abilities.
Yeah, and I personally, as somebody that plays a lot of Lucio, I like this because this will encourage a lot more people to kind of stay together and maybe stay on point. Because right now you have a lot of I don't know, kind of people doing their own things when you need like three people to be pushing the point, or um, Hanzo off in the distance, spamming need healing, and like I'm nowhere near. Like it's not my problem. Well, it is part of my problem, but like there's less I can do about it if you're not going to be nearby. So I think it's going to encourage other players to kind of like be more aware of like their surrounding and their teammates. So
And it'll also make that nerf is with how significant it is, like moving it from 30 meters to 10 means that in order to get that effect, you're going to have to be really clumped up, which will make Lucio, frankly, way weaker than he is now. Because you will be susceptible to a lot of ultimate combos being that close together.
Yeah, so it kind of changes the meta of basically rushing and kind of playing as a whole team a little bit, because you could be a little bit spread out. But now it's if you have a Lucio player, you kind of have to be kind of piled together. But I don't know, the interesting change there as far as Overwatch and Blizzard news goes. Here's some news I bet you were aching to hear about.
I was just gonna say. I was just about to say.
Smite
I didn't even know
Rivals.
this existed. So.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Nice hard segue.
Yeah.
Smite Rivals has been suspended.
Oh.
What is Smite Rivals?
No. What is that, you may ask? And does it have anything to do with the very successful MOBA Smite? Yes. Right? I don't even. Yes, it does. Right?
Well, so Smite had made, or Hi-Rez had done like had started development on a couple of spin-off games from the core Smite IP. So they have Smite Tactics, which is like a turn-based strategy game, and then they had Smite Rivals, which was, I guess, like a card game, sort of a card game with MOBA elements or something. So I'm not sure exactly, but I just remember that they were like working on two new kind of offshoot games that were based on the Smite universe, but not the Smite like gameplay. But basically, I just thought this was interesting to note that that Smite Rivals has apparently been shelved, and they say that they put it on hold, but pretty much that like it wasn't getting traction. That's the reading between the lines.
Don't fear though, because they're going to be focusing on Smite Tactics.
Yeah, so it sounds like they sort of picked one and picked the one that was doing better, and I guess maybe they'll focus resources that were on Rivals to Tactics. But I mean, I guess it's not really that surprising now with Hi-Rez having so many different projects going on. Like they're trying to manage multiple active games between Smite and Paladins, and then also develop new games. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last time we see, a game in development kind of get shelved, especially when, undoubtedly they have plans for the next Tribes game. So at some point, everything's going to have to move over in favor of development on that title.
Yeah. All right. And I think that's all there is.
You just accept that with a straight face.
I think it's funny that because I didn't even know it existed, but no, given the context of what you said, yes, I think they're picking the more successful project.
Complete straight face nodding, like, yeah, I guess that's going to happen.
That is definitely going to happen. All right, let's let Katie take us through the new releases, my friend.
Yeah, so new releases. I wanted to throw this one in here. I cannot believe I forgot this last week, but Nier Automata came out on PC on March 17th last week. Pretty #1 on the top sellers, which is pretty good to hear, because I was kind of worried, being kind of a relatively niche game. It's doing pretty well. I think it's 3 on Metacritic right now. I think it might be tied with Horizon Zero Dawn. I think it's either 89 or 90 on there. But yeah, it's being pretty well received, and it's on PC now. It's looking like it has some PC issues with a lock at 60 FPS and some issues with 1080p, but nothing that's really game ruining. Nothing that definitely be patched. But yeah, that's on PC now, full price, absolutely worth it. Phenomenal game. But for what's coming out this week,
KD, real quick,
March.
can you confirm whether or not the screenshots on their Steam page are of actual gameplay, or if these are perhaps marketing screenshots that do not necessarily represent what it looks like in game?
I'm going through one by one, and just the image of they are. I can confirm these are all in-game screenshots.
Really?
The one shot. Oh yeah, absolutely. 80 hours in, I can definitely tell.
Okay.
Just the shot of the main character like facing the camera. That one I think might be a little touched up, but yeah, everything else looks. It is a beautiful game. I would say.
So you can turn off the UI and everything.
Yeah, you actually. It kind of works into like let me see the upgrade system where you equip different like chips that give. Some of the chips that come by default are actually the HUD itself, and you can just outright take those off. So yeah, you can definitely get rid of the HUD.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm glad we can get verification on that.
Yes, they're all very faithfully following Steam's policy.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
Absolutely. Yeah, but other than that, coming out this week, Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out on March 21st.
That should be
and
good.
already some videos.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah,
So-
I'm sure it'll play nice. I don't know about.
I mean, it's already got 4.5 stars on Microsoft
gotta be
Store.
great.
So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure if you know there've definitely been some videos floating around of the quality of this game, which can be a bit worrying. But I mean, I'm not gonna really knock it until I try it.
It's really people just picking it apart because my girlfriend. I watched my girlfriend play like a good chunk of because if you have access to Origin early, or I forget what it is, you can play up to 10 hours. And like it actually looks really, really good, and to the point where like I haven't been interested in Mass Effect ever, but the combat system alone is something that's going to probably grab me in, and I might actually pick this up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
The animation stuff is just like regular hiccups that happen with their characters. Like it's just not every game. I mean, people are comparing it to Witcher, but even Witcher has had some interesting stuff. Like
for sure.
But the internet's just being the internet.
Yeah, I know people are being. I mean, some of those. There are some pretty telling videos, but I completely believe it's going to be a great game. But yeah, that comes out.
I have
21st,
no doubt that it will be a great game when the top add-on is 5750 Mass Effect Andromeda points or $50. So that I'm gonna make sure and take advantage of that in-game currency offer.
For sure.
All I had to say.
Absolutely.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. I don't know. I've heard mixed things. Some people that have played 10 hours that really like the series feel like it's going the wrong direction. But again, it's going to be a long ass game, right? So it's hard to know. We'll have to see more of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but yeah, keep a lookout for that. Also, we talked about this earlier in the cast. March 23rd, Player Unknown's Battlegrounds.
yes.
Yeah.
Or
Player Unknown's Battlegrounds.
All right. So Player Unknown's Battlegrounds on the 23rd in early access. Yeah, in all caps.
Do you want to maybe try that title again, KD?
I'm very sorry. Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. There you go.
Much better.
Clean. Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, it's being developed by Butthole Inc. I'm sorry, Bluehole Inc. Inspired by H1Z1. Really original game coming out, you know. Please enjoy it, you know.
Screenshots on their Steam page do appear to be marketing screenshots. So
okay.
Take that
there
with
we go.
that with a grain of salt. They are not following our guidelines.
Surely we'll be taken off Steam promptly, and
yes,
we'll
They will be spanked
Yeah,
and
we'll have a word
be
on that.
required to put actual in-game
It's gonna
screenshots.
be really funny.
There's very specific
Uh,
rules for not following our instructions. So
yeah, lastly, this for all of our Weeb listeners, this game is coming out. Zero Escape, the Nonary games, which is a collection of the first two games. I don't know if you remember, Zero Time Dilemma came out June last year. It was a visual novel.
that's right. I remember exactly. I even remember what I ate that
Yeah.
day. Zero Time Removal came out.
Oh yeah,
I had an egg salad sandwich with a glass of milk. When that gem came, what the
You
are
ate,
these?
you ate an egg salad sandwich with a glass of milk?
It was a long time in my life. I didn't know what I was doing.
No wonder you remember that meal.
It was really
Damn.
odd. I remember while I was reading the visual novel, I was like, "What? Why do I have milk with egg salad?" But it actually worked together pretty well. Anyway,
all
go
right.
ahead.
Well, yeah. Well, this is actually a collection of the first two games that were on the DS that look like they've been polished up for Steam. So if you ever want that on March 24th, which I've heard some good things. So
Do you
No
own
word
the
on a
other?
price
Do you
yet.
own the other visual novel?
no, I don't own it, but
okay.
the person the company making it has made like this game called Danganronpa, which is a really good visual novel. So
Okay.
they make some good stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, nothing else this week. Thank you for joining me on your releases once again.
It was a wild ride.
I always talk like it's some separate program,
You do.
but now it's
You do.
welcome once again. No. All right.
Goddamn.
Fewer questions. Take it away.
All right. We've got one from King Alex on Twitter, and he asks us, what is a good non-awkward way to bring up my impressive vertical leap at a party so that I can show off and make friends? I'm reading this as is written. He wrote "and" instead of "and." But so he wants a way to bring up his impressive vertical leap. First of all, I think
non-awkward way.
in a non-awkward way. If someone comes up to you, first of all, we have to establish, does having an impressive vertical leap equal or I guess he's saying show off. Oh no, he said and make friends. So okay, yes, that would be a boasty thing. But does having an impressive
He
vertical
wants to
leap
make friends by showing off, but he doesn't want to bring it up awkwardly. He wants it to almost be like accidental. He's like, "Oh, hold on guys, I've got this." Like, I think what you do is, if you're at a party and like let's say there's let's say that there's like a second story, try and get something stuck on the roof. And then be like, oh man, it sucks that thing's on the roof. Or have one of your friends stage it.
Okay.
Like I assume you have like one friend who you can rely on to be like, oh man, this thing got stuck on the roof. And then you say, don't worry guys, I got this.
He makes it sound like he has no friends though.
Well, all right, then look, you may have to get a little bit creative. I'm just saying, get something stuck on the roof, and then say, hey guys, don't worry, I got this. And then you jump up, and either you jump on the roof and grab it, or if you can't do that, then you're gonna have to again. The circumstances are gonna be important, but like you're gonna be able to find a way. Alternately, if you're at a pool party and they have a diving board, then
excellent.
like I would hope with your impressive vertical leap that you have practiced and are better at diving board moves than any of your acquaintances. So, like that answer speaks for itself.
You could also arrange a party in a way where all of you go to a sky zone. That'd be a perfect place to demonstrate your vertical.
No. Actually, I disagree with that because your impressive vertical leap will not look nearly as impressive because everyone feels like they have a large vertical leap at Sky Zone.
Oh, that's true.
So, like, your vertical leap might be 4 feet, but if that 4 feet is now like 8 feet, but everyone else's is 4 feet or 6 feet, now you don't look impressive at all.
Okay.
Yeah, stay away from Sky Zone.
Yeah. Maybe it works off of like a multiplier. It depends on your vertical leap.
Unless you can go to Sky Zone and like touch the ceiling. If you can touch the ceiling at Sky Zone, then go for it.
Yeah, you need to do several flips on.
Also, if you
in
don't
one
have any friends yet, how are you getting invited to a party in the first place?
That's true. You make the.
Well, he
It's
showed
his
up.
mom's. It's his
Yeah.
mom's party or some shit.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's
Oh,
like so are we talking like a Pampered Chef party or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. He's walking into his mom's Pampered Chef sales pitch, and
Yeah, so,
trying to
so put on
trying
your
to
so put
call
on
him
your
at a
put on
party.
your trunks and say, "Hey, everyone, watch this!" and go out in the backyard and do a double backflip into the pool. Obvious.
Oh my god.
You're
I
rendered
say-
speechless.
I say let if it really is impressive, have somebody come at you with a car and jump over it, and then let
Ooh.
natural selection like do its
Yeah.
thing. I mean,
Hmm.
if it truly is impressive, like congrats, you will get friends. But if it's
Okay,
not,
so
then you're
bet-
gonna
so bet
be
your
hit
life-
by a car. And
Bet your
Yeah.
life on your impressive vertical leap. People love steaks.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a good point.
Mm.
Steaks really make people pay attention. Like,
Yeah, and if you lied about
Instantly.
your impressive vertical leap, I think it just shows that you deserve to die. So I mean,
right.
two birds, one stone. I mean,
If there's any social event, it's definitely the competitive basketball sport that you can really show off an impressive vertical leap.
Mhm.
Just dunk with every shot you make, because it'll come so easily.
you just become
Because your
that
vertical
annoying.
leap is so impressive.
You just become this annoying guy that goes around to the party and dunking everyone. Like
That's what I imagine the guy going to Sky Zone showing off his leap is. He's like jumping in front of other people to like show off. He came by himself.
You just carry around an actual like regulation size basketball hoop just so that you can dunk on people whenever you have the opportunity.
Hey, can you guys set this up for me, please? Just okay. Hold on. All right.
All right. Yeah.
He just goes for it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, very interesting question, King Alex. Thank you for that. We've got.
You didn't think those were good suggestions, and I don't even
Yeah.
know why you asked.
Let us know how it goes if you use any of those. By the way, we've got another Twitter question from B Tier K2, who asked us if you can eliminate one food for life between fried chicken, beef patties, bacon, pancakes, which would it be and why? So he's given us 4 choices, and we have to eliminate one. I'm
So
assuming.
3 of these are meat products, and 1 is pancakes.
Yes, exactly, which makes it a little difficult.
You know what? I'm probably this may be an unpopular opinion because I know people are fanatical about the food that I'm going to eliminate here.
I know where you're
I'm
going.
right.
I'm,
with this.
I
I'm right
think
there
I'm
with you.
eliminating bacon.
Yeah, bacon just never
What?
really has done
Whoa,
anything.
whoa,
for me.
okay, hold on. No, I thought you were going
Yeah.
somewhere else. Holy shit!
I thought you were
I'm
going
off-
pancakes, but
I'm off of it. I thought he was eliminating pancakes too. I was about to go full
No
meat.
way.
On this.
Ooh.
Absolutely not. Look, here's the thing. There are other things that I enjoy just as much as bacon, like the common substitute, sausage. I would actually
no way.
prefer.
There's-
Yes, I would prefer sausage generally.
You know, I'm starting to question
bacon-
your authority on Denny's and IHOP and whatever
Dang,
else.
dude.
What do you
You're
think I
really
get at
gonna, like-
Denny's?
Dang.
Fucking probably pancakes, you scum.
Wow.
No, I typically will choose if they ask, "Would you like sausage or bacon?" I choose sausage because sausage is
But
delicious.
This is the thing. You're talking about bacon just as like a side. Bacon has so many different value propositions, Brent. I'm going to use your own term, value
Well,
propositions.
hold on. So here's
Bacon can go
hold on. Then
on so many
I'm
things.
eliminating this because when I see fried chicken, like if we're just saying literally the only thing I can't have is like specific breaded fried chicken, then maybe I'd consider removing that. But the other categories are too wide for me to eliminate without knowing more. I know exactly what bacon means, and I like bacon. But beef patties, that's a complete non-starter, right? Beef patties are in tons of things.
Oh yeah.
You can't get rid of beef
Chicken,
patty.
like chicken is in tons of things. If it's like just a specific type of fried chicken, maybe. But like pancakes, I like pancakes every now and then. Bacon is not a meal on its own for me. The other things constitute like the core of the meal.
Exactly.
Bacon constitutes
disgusting.
a side item.
You're disgusting.
Exactly. Someone in chat said, bacon has versatility. I mean, but that's like everything else is a foundation. I mean, bacon can complement things. I mean, taste, regardless of taste, I can live without bacon. Like, is all it is. Like, I would never really have bacon by
Bacon is
itself.
an incredible side item. Like, I'm not saying I don't like bacon. I definitely do. But if I have to eliminate one, these other foods are pretty foundational. Bacon is not.
You're looking at it a completely different, the wrong way.
So with the fried
Enlighten us.
chicken, is that it's not all chicken? It's just literally fried chicken prepared like that. Is that what
Look,
we're
I
saying?
don't know. All we have is the
that's
context
true.
we've been provided. I don't know.
Because I like fried chicken, but I would be willing, because I would also argue, because I like pancakes, but pancakes without bacon for me, those go hand in hand, the salty, the sweet, and plus bacon. I would be willing, as much as I like fried chicken, I think I would, if it's only fried chicken specifically, I would do fried chicken. I'll get rid of it. I would go beef patties, bacon, and pancakes, because I like pancakes too. Pancakes would be hard to give up.
Now the
But
question
also,
is,
you know what
hold
else
on.
complements pancakes? Fried chicken.
Hold on. The question
chicken
is
goes great with
actually that's a good point, and that's why I think that frankly you can't eliminate fried chicken or pancakes because them together is perhaps the best combination of both. But secondly,
They're good.
if you eliminate fried chicken,
Waffles or pancakes.
are you not also eliminating chicken tenders?
It's fried chicken.
Ooh, you're right.
That's
And
what I'm
chicken
saying
nuggets,
to you.
especially.
You want
Gone.
you are trying to like pare down what fried chicken means to a
Yeah.
specific thing, and
See,
you're not
yeah.
realizing what all it encompasses.
See, to me, I look at this as like, okay, what can I replace these things with? There's no good replacement for like a good fried chicken or beef patties. Like turkey patties don't taste the same as beef patties. There's no good bacon replacement. But you know what? I could replace pancakes with waffles.
I think
That's true.
That's a
That's
fair.
true.
That's a valid choice, but I like pancakes. I like
Well,
pancakes,
you're
man.
wrong, but yeah, I mean,
That has nothing to do with being wrong. Look, I
No,
went
I
out.
mean,
I went out on a limb to give you my real, honest answer to this question. I'm not going to be denigrated for my choice.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's tough.
it's an easy.
It's a tough one. It's easy for you guys. This is not easy.
easy.
All those are great food
because
items.
I could replace pancakes with different types of waffles or other, I don't know, other things, crepes.
I see
even.
what you're arguing there.
But
I
like,
guess.
you can't. You've had turkey bacon before, and it's not the same thing, you know. And you've had, you know, things constituting beef patties before, and it's not the same thing. And I don't know. It's just like I've never gone to a breakfast and been like, I don't know.
I mean, it depends. I like sausage too. I like sausage and bacon together. I mean, I eat both of them. But oh man, this is tough. I don't know. I thought I had an answer, but I agree that beef patties is a non-starter. That's the only thing I can totally agree on. And also, now you're making me question bacon, Brandon. I don't know.
Yeah, see, it's not as easy as you thought it was, is it?
But now Brad's saying though also that pancakes should be replaced, and he is right. I like pancakes, but you could do waffles. You could do other things.
Even
I'm gonna have
toast. I mean, could replace pancakes for me.
What?
Okay, all right. No, he lost me now.
Hold on, dude.
All right, no,
Pancakes.
Hold on.
Pancakes
Get
are
rid of
so
it.
bland.
Get rid of
Pancakes
this
are
fried
so
chicken. No, we're done. Okay, he just put toast in the same category as pancakes.
French
We're done.
toast.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
I like.
That's different
But they're
though.
not the
You just said
same
toast.
thing.
French toast
I'm
is
just saying.
dipped in fucking egg and vanilla and. God damn it!
Pancake.
All right.
Easy.
You cannot just say pancakes are basically toast. That's objectively wrong.
God damn it!
I didn't say they were basically wrong, but like they're on the same level.
For you to think that toast is a replacement for pancakes just shows that you're not a fan of pancakes. That's become
mean, you
obvious over
clearly
the course of this question.
I've never seen someone this aggressively against pancakes, though, Brad. What did pancakes ever do to you, Brad? I feel like they did something to you one day.
I know the
Show me where the International House of
waffles.
Pancakes
Waffles are better.
touched you,
They
dude.
just kind of
Where did
are.
they-
I don't know.
I was gonna say I think maybe he has an IHOP story we haven't heard.
Yeah, we haven't heard it yet. Good lord. All right. We've got one more question. That was B tier K2. I mean, anytime you bring the food questions, you're gonna get strong opinions.
That was
so
a really divisive question.
that was
Yeah.
very divisive. Well done.
I see
All
what
right.
you're saying though, Brad. Like there are other breakfast foods besides
Yeah.
pancakes,
Mhm.
There are.
but
Mm.
but pancakes are not toast.
Okay, yeah. I'm just saying that pancakes are replaceable with something else. Where like
Mm.
you can't replace a good beef.
So
patty.
is
You can't-
bacon. You can replace
No.
bacon.
No, you
You
can't.
You
though.
choose not to.
You can't though.
Mm.
With
There's
What
no
is
what?
good.
I
There's no
what
good
can you
equivalent
replace
to
bacon?
pork bacon and pork sausage are both pork. The
No
same
way,
way
dude.
that pancakes and
Mm.
waffles are both
Mm,
bread. If you want to get down to like the real the real core ingredients here.
Mm.
well, bacon kind of has that distinct flavor between
I'm
like
not
bacon
talking about
sauce.
flavor, I'm talking about the ingredients. If you want to talk replacements, bacon and sausage come from the same place.
No, I understand that.
Well, you
But
don't eat for the ingredient; you eat for the taste.
I
That's the
look,
point
I
of eating.
understand that, which is why I don't think it's a valid argument to talk about replacements. It solely comes down to personal preference. What is the best thing for your life? Like which elimination hurts you the
For
least?
your life. True. Yeah, I have to phrase it that way. Okay. All right. Well, we aren't going to agree here. We'll have to definitely revisit this. This is clearly a very divisive question. B tier.
This will have to be our poll
This will be
question
the
for
new.
next week.
Yeah, I was just going to say this might have to be for next week. Okay. All right. This last one this last question is from Love Muffin, and this is from an email. And he writes us and says, what up, KD Mad? I am a new dad with baby number 2 on the way, and I'm in the middle of building a new PC. I've been sourcing parts as I get the money, and I'm willing to drop a hefty amount, but with the 2 children, future upgrading may not be financially viable. Therefore, I'm building for the most possible gaming power and as much future proofing as possible, with the intention of moving to 4K eventually. My problem is that I would really like to support Ryzen and get those extra cores, but for a pure gaming machine, my money is probably better spent on the higher clocks I can get with a KB Lake. Is that short-sighted? Will Ryzen get better with improved driver support down the road? Will games start scaling for more than 4 cores? Does it think it's another cat? Great question. I can answer that one, and the answer is yes, it definitely does. The rest of this I will defer to Brad and Brandon. And thank you, Love Muffin, for your email question.
personally, I would wait if you're on a budget. I would wait for the AMD R5 Ryzen processors that are coming out in the next couple months. You're going to see, I think it's like the 1500X or something like that. You're getting a lot of cores, a lot of threads for like under $200. I mean, like, and the frequency is pretty good. Future proofing though, I do not recall, but we are going to be seeing some new processors this fall or early next year from Intel, and I don't know if they're going to be the same socket as what we have with Kaby Lake. So I will say, and the info is online. It's just like off the top of my head, I honestly don't know. So personally, I would say if you're looking to future proof, AMD is probably going to stick with these sockets and this platform for a bit. I would probably look at the AMD Ryzen R5 product lineup that's releasing in like April. So
I think we get this or a question like this every so often that is sort of like, what should I do now versus later? And I think that the answer is I wouldn't necessarily blow a ton of money right now because I don't think you have to. I wouldn't worry so much about future proofing, and I would mainly say, like, what do you play now, and use that to guide your purchasing decision. Because I would say if you can play, let's say you play games like, I don't know, League of Legends or Dota or other games that don't really stress high-end hardware, then you can buy $1,000 PC today, and if you had $2,000 to spend, you still have $1,000 left over that maybe in a couple years you can sell your used video card and buy a new video card, and that PC will still be cranking along just fine. It is not necessarily a better option to buy the more expensive PC today unless you're going to take advantage of it. So I think it really depends on what you're going to do with your machine, either outside of gaming or just the type of games you play. And if you're going to be playing new top-of-the-line games, I think that basically don't look to future-proofing. Like, don't look to build a system today that is going to play 4K anything at a playable frame rate, because that's like not possible with a mainstream machine today. So basically be realistic with what you can get today for a reasonable amount of money. But I don't think anything that you get today is going to be bad in 3 or 4 years. Like if you're talking about getting a new Ryzen processor and getting a good video card, like a $300 plus video card, I mean, I'm running a machine myself that I built in 2014, and all I've done is upgrade the video card once. So that's from someone who doesn't have children and has disposable income. I could build a new PC if I want to, but I have a 4790K that's been going great for 2 years, and frankly, like there's not a whole lot of reason for me to upgrade right now. So I think just basically maybe stash a little bit of cash away for a video card upgrade in a couple of years, but other than that, just base it on what you play.
Yeah, so I looked up the processors. In what's coming out is pretty impressive. So it's for $250. The Ryzen 5 1600X is 6 cores and 12 threads at 4 gigahertz for $250, compared to like Intel's i5 7600K. It is about the same price, and you only get 4 cores and 4 threads. So I mean, like, if anything's going to be great for, I think that's going to hold you over for 4K gaming, because we know at least some of the technical marketing managers and stuff I've been talking to over at Intel, they've all been saying that they've been working with like studios on utilizing more cores and threads in their games. So I think if you're looking to future proof a little, I think the Ryzen platform is going to be decent for you. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. All right. Well, some good advice. And Love Muffin, I hope you end up making a decision. Let us know how it goes if you want to write back in. Actually, this would be a good follow-up email, like down the road when he does decide what route he's going to go, if he goes Ryzen or Intel or whatever. So let us know.
I love how a new dad also is like concerned with his PC.
Yeah. Gotta be.
Like, you have a second baby on the way, but like, let's figure out the piece. I appreciate the dedication.
It is. That's great.
All right. Well, I was about to say, sorry to cut you off, but I was like, nice jab there by Brandon for everybody that has a kid. It's like,
no.
But it's like, well, I mean, I do have no kids and I have a disposable income, so I mean, I could build a fucking time machine if I wanted to. But
it's like, nice jab.
I think you know
I don't
what
need
I meant.
to.
You know what I meant. I'm giving people a baseline that, like, even me, who someone who is typically like building new PCs more frequently than your average person, even I'm on a PC that now is, I think, over 2 years old. So like, I don't think that we're in the ferocious, like, fast and furious upgrade cycles that we used to be in, where I used to feel like if I wasn't replacing my computer every couple years, I was behind the curve. I don't feel like that anymore. So I don't think you have to be as concerned with future proofing, except when it comes to video cards. Like, video cards are still a place where your video card today is going to be, like, the highest tier video card today is going to be mid-range in 2 or 3 years. So I would say stash a little bit of cash today to upgrade your video card in 2 or 3 years, and then you'll be good to go.
All right. There you go. This would be the part of the show where we would do the iTunes podcast review of the week. If we had, I don't know, people that were actually going out there and leaving reviews. And you could do that yourself. You could get onto this portion of the show by simply leaving a 5-star review on iTunes. That is required. But then whatever you put in the body, the title, the account name, whatever you do, that is all up to you. We just want you to review our cast and interact with us that way. So hopefully we'll have one for next week. I know some of you have already left reviews, so those of you that have, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the guys that you've just been sitting on your hands, and you had a good idea for a review and you haven't done it. Get it in, okay? Get it in for next week, and you could be the next Katie's.
If you've left a review, maybe like your siblings or your parents haven't left a review, and like maybe you could give them an idea. That's a great point.
I didn't even think
for
about
the kind of review they might like to leave. Because I'm sure, when you're in the car with them, like, they've listened to the cast with you, of course. So they're probably familiar with the cast, but they might not know that they can leave a review as well. So, get friends and family involved.
Exactly.
Once you make those new friends after bringing up your impressive vertical leap, the next thing you can do is talk to him about leaving a review on the KBMOD podcast.
Perfect. Beautiful. Beautifully done, Brandon. Great tie-in. All right. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for episode 270. Thanks for hanging out with us as always. You can check out the KBMOD website, which has, like we talked about, the No Man's Sky update analysis info. We've got the KBMOD Staff's Best Game Ever feature up there. Lots of other things, the multi-stream. Check out kbmod.com for that. You can follow KBMOD Gaming on Twitter at KBMOD Gaming. I am at APL Fisher. Katie Zen is at Katie Zen 18. Brad is at Hudgison15. Volition is at VOL1TION on Twitter. You can also type in how to ski on YouTube and find a video on his channel teaching you how to ski in Tribes Ascend, in case you didn't know that. Trust me. Brandon has actually multiple viral videos on his channel, so definitely check that out if you ever
Definitely
find
king of viral videos before viral videos were a thing.
Exactly. Yeah, way ahead of the curve on that. So
there is another video in the dark recess of the internet about tongue skiing your meat rocket, but that one's a little harder to find.
That one's tough. That one's a tough find.
But once you find it, my goodness.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You will know. You will know. Yes, loud muffler. And also, yes, loud muffler is obviously another huge video category that Brandon has unlocked. So, but yeah, thanks for listening, guys. This has been episode 270. I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, wherever you're listening to this. And we will see you next week. Farewell.
No.
That was
Oh.
incredible.